Throughout the decades, there has been one standout voice in harness racing. Adam Hamilton has conveyed the amazing highs and the heartbreaking lows. Retrovision are proud to present Adam Hamilton. Retrovision, lowest prices guaranteed. RAC members save an extra 5% every day at Retrovision.
Good morning to you, Adam. How do you do?
Yeah, g'day. G'day, fellas. Really well. Busy week. Chaotic week. Strange day yesterday at Geelong. Surreal a little bit in some ways, but not unexpected with the forecast going into it. At least they've been able to pivot and get those crucial races run today. But, in harness racing, I know I've got a massive time in thoroughbred racing, but this is a conversation I didn't think I'd be having with you guys as early as I am, and that is, a genuine poser as to where the Great Leap to Fame is at. Suffered his second defeat in as many starts. The first time in almost 2 years he's been beaten in 2 consecutive races, when third in the Victoria Cup last week. And he's down to run in the opening race on Saturday night at Melton. Now, to give you some context here, yes, it's not an overly strong race, but it wasn't when he was beaten 2 starts back. He's raced 72 times since about mid-2001 when he started his career. Over that time and across all those starts, Leap to Fame has never lost 3 races in a row, guys.
Wow. That's quite a record. He's $1.12 to make sure that record stays intact, Adam. Catch a Wave on the second line at $7. Bulletproof Boy $8.50. Can you see a world where Leap to Fame does get rolled here?
Oh, look, it's hard to see it, Shorty, because he wasn't, if you forget who he is and you just look at the run and say, horse ABC, how did they run in the Victoria Cup? You would say he went terrific. He drew poorly, he did all the work, and yeah, he was, he battled a little bit from the home turn onwards, but he still ran third and they went terrific time. But because it's Leap to Fame and because of the things he's done throughout his career, we just judge him by higher standards. So, but back to your question here. Look, in all likelihood, it looks like Bulletproof Boy, and this is the rising 11-year-old who, and it adds a bit more intrigue because this is a horse that beat him 2 starts back. It looks like he'll roll to the front, and they won't go toe-to-toe with Leap to Fame, even though they beat him. They beat him by stalking him. So they'll sit on him. You would expect that he'll work to the front. In between them is Catch a Wave. Now, Catch a Wave we know can really run off the gate as well, but I just don't think the team will do that. He himself, the enigma that he is, was just awful in the Victoria Cup last week. He self-destructed, pulled his head off behind the leader, hung and just dropped out when he should have been challenging for the prize. So I don't think they'll be using him early. So that means Leap to Fame will almost certainly run to the front. Now, if he can't run to the front in this field and win impressively, they won't be taking him to the New Zealand Cup. He's booked on a flight on November 5 to go there. So all the signs are good. Their blood tests have been done. The horse is eating up. The horse is bright. Grant Dixon has no reason why he's not at the absolute top of his incredible game at the moment. But this is one of the more defining races he's been in because it shapes whether he'll probably ever go to a New Zealand Cup. He missed last year's race because he had a throat infection and, he's a rising 7-year-old now. I can't see them looking at a New Zealand Cup next year. So I hope he comes out and bolts in and goes because I think the Kiwis deserve to get to see him on what I think is the biggest harness stage in this part of the world, New Zealand Cup Day, guys.
Will this be the last run before the New Zealand Cup?
Look, it would be. I mean, there is potential for another race next week, Taylor, but that would be 5 races in 5 weeks. So I think this is the line in the sand race, and it's not. It's only 2.5 weeks away to the Cup after this.
All right. We spoke about Leap to Fame, but the winner of the Vic Cup, Kingman, that was a
can
statement.
Do it. Oh, wow. He can do this, Luke McCarthy, can't he? Just his ability to click with certain horses. We saw it, very close to the hearts in WA with what he did with King of Swing. He rejuvenated him and then took him to another level. Don Hugo, a lot of people don't realise, came from Emma Stewart and Clayton Tonkin, and Luke obviously turned him into one of the best horses as well. And Kingman, again, from Emma and Clayton. People say, you don't want a horse off them. You can't get them going as well as they do. It doesn't seem to hold any fears for Luke McCarthy. This horse has always had ability, but that was a heck of a win the other night to put in that little gallop he did. And this is my point about Leap to Fame. Every time he's been beaten, you would still say he's been by far the best run in the race. He's had to do all the work and he's been brave. Last Saturday night, Kingman went better than Leap to Fame and beat him on his merits. So that speaks volumes for Kingman, and it does raise that little question about Leap to Fame. So Kingman may also go to the New Zealand Cup. This one surprised me a little bit. He's going to go to a standing start trial next Wednesday at Menangle. He's never trialled even from a stand. So he's got to pass that test, not only technically to be eligible, but he's got to pass the test as far as Luke McCarthy having the confidence that he'll be reliable and step away in the standing start in the New Zealand Cup. If that happens, then he will go over. Most likely there's a flight out of Sydney a week before it, and then he will go over for the New Zealand Cup. Swayze is back on target, I'm told. He will race Saturday week at Menangle, and then he's going to do what he did last year. He's going to get that flight out of Sydney to Auckland down to Christchurch only 3 days before the New Zealand Cup. But it worked for him last year, and Jason Grimson's got the same plan. So strong New Zealand Aussie representation in the Cup, but the biggest question mark right now is on Leap to Fame.
Indeed. Oh, hopefully we get to see Lenny back firing on all cylinders. Adam, Kiang Zahara, once again, brilliant, taking out the Aldebaran Park Bill Collins Trotters sprint there at Group 1 level on Saturday night. She's really putting together a phenomenal record.
Shorty, I don't know that I've seen a more exciting trotter than her, just for sheer brilliance. She's running times that if you had an open class pacer, you would be thinking you could win Group 1 races. So this is next generation trotting at its best. She's incredible. She can run 26 quarters, 54 halves, and she's still building fitness-wise. No New Zealand for her. She's going to stay home. The biggest of big targets is the new bonus series of races early next year. Little chance she goes to Brisbane for the Group 1 Great Square in December. Her stablemate Jillaby Ballerini will go over to New Zealand for the feature races over there. She's already won a race from a standing start. So lots to look forward to with her. Quickly through some of the action this weekend, I'll cover these venues. Menangle, Breeders' Challenge Finals night, some really good racing there. A couple to watch out for. In race 6, 2-year-old filly Sparkling Sea looks a bit special. And in race 7, Hollywood Strip looks to be one of the best 2-year-olds in the land. So that's Menangle, Melton Saturday night. Along with Leap to Fame, we've got this exciting 4-year-old mare, Sweet Ideal, returning from Gate 9 in race 4. I think she can be a factor in all the big mares races over the next 12 months. Albion Park Saturday night. Gus, the talented but enigmatic trotter, he has what will probably be his last lead-up race before going over for the big feature trotting races in that New Zealand Cup week as well. And then Gloucester Park tomorrow night. What a meeting. Each week just seems to be intriguing at the moment. WA Derby Prelude, a couple I'll be watching in race 2, Rumble Strip and Runkle Crunch, who looks to be building nicely. Then we go to race 4, Mr. Smarty. He's building. He hasn't come back and just gone bang this campaign. He looks to be building. He's drawn wide in 9, Penny Black 8, Captain Ravishing, who, gee, was disappointing last start after looking so good the previous run, but maybe the back row doesn't suit him. And then in race 5, this 4-year-old classic. It's a tremendous race. So much depth, so much excitement as far as these 4-year-olds becoming free-for-allers, and the one that I want to be backing each way is Just Call Me Mickey, even off the back row. Should be primed after those 3 runs back, guys.
All right, absolutely. And we'll catch up with Mike Reid very shortly to get an update on Bettor's Pride. Best bets, Adam?
Yep, Melton, Saturday night. Still waiting for these markets to come out to see what odds we'll get. But late in the night, not too bad your time. Race 8, number 2, Calexico. Racing better than its form suggests. Finally got a draw and has the gate speed to take a position. And over to race 9, number 6, Pick Up Elvis. I think this horse is a really nice horse in the making. Nothing went right in the Derby. He drops back to a more suitable race, and I think you can get back into winning form for the very much in form Aaron Dunn stable. Melton, Saturday night, race 8, number 2, Calexico. Race 9, number 6, Pick Up Elvis, mate. And as far as the Cox Plate goes,
Yep.
Antino for me.
Antino.
Really, I think it's going to be one of the most fascinating tactical races, and as much a battle of the jockeys as it will be the horses. And I just think Antino, the timing of his preparation and that 80-metre ping of speed he's got that maybe nothing else has got in this race. A Blake Shin Perler can get Antino home, I reckon.
Take off at the school, you reckon?
Well, there's a great chance. I've just written a column with your own Damien Oliver for the Melbourne paper on the weekend, and Ollie said, don't rule out a Bone Crusher Waverley Star here. We really, really could see Antino and Via Sistina take off at the 800 and go together, because it's going to be such a tactical battle between J-Mac, who knows that Via Sistina can sustain that run, and Blake Shin, who will not want to be giving Via Sistina a head start. So it's a long time since I've looked forward to a race as much as this, guys.
And Adam, a pretty significant and special moment it'll be there on Saturday, and to a degree a sad moment as well, given the history and the amount of times that people have been fortunate enough to get along to the incredible amphitheatre and special racetrack that Moonee Valley has been. It will return, but not as we've remembered it. So a really special day for everyone concerned there on Saturday.
Shorty, I was thinking as much when I was at the grand final Eve meeting, and there was an unbelievable crowd and atmosphere. And, I mean, I've grown up going to the Valley for the trots and also the thoroughbreds, showing my age. But the first Cox Plate I went to was Strawberry Road in 1983, and fell in love with the intimacy of the Valley, if you like. So it is going to be a sad time. It's sad enough for me going out there all the time and seeing the remains of the old harness track, but to think that the thoroughbred track's going to be different too. I know they're promising, that they're going to build a track that will go close to replicating that, but it's like I'm losing a large piece of my childhood and love for racing when they pull the Valley down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they bring it back. Thank you very much, Adam. We'll dissect it all next week.
Good on you guys. Look forward to that. Thank you.
There's Adam Hamilton taking a closer look at East Coast harness racing, focusing locally. And as Adam said, the 4-year-old classic, it proves to be a classic race. Race number 5 on the program here at Gloucester Park. One of the key chances is Bettor's Pride trainer. Mike Reid joins us on the Sports Daily. Mike, good morning to you.
Good day, boys. How are you?
Going well, thanks, Mike. Lovely to have you on the program this morning. Must be looking forward to Friday night. Gloucester Park, as Taylor alluded to. Bettor's Pride comes up with the draw there in 2. And you also have Lion Queen drawn 6. Take us through how both of these horses are heading into Friday night.
Yeah, no, they after Friday night, I was a little bit concerned about Bettor's Pride because he had a little hard run, but he pulled up. He cleaned his bim up, and the next morning he was galloping around the paddock, and he worked sensational yesterday morning. That's probably the best he's ever worked. So I'm looking really forward to the race. And Lion Queen, I can't say any more about her either. It was she hit the line hard the other day, last Friday night, and she's pulled up good. She worked with Bettor's Pride yesterday morning, and they worked really good. I'm very, very happy with them.
All right, so clearly Bettor's Pride's got the better draw from 2, Lion Queen in 6. How does it work out for Bettor's Pride?
Shannon will be. I spoke to Shannon yesterday morning. He said, how did that work? And I said, sensational. We'll be pushing the button at the start. We'll be coming out hard. Yeah, we'll be We'll be coming on. I know it's 2100. My Lightning Banner may want to hold up, but I think if he gets a bit of pressure, he'll be handing up. Put it this way, we won't be backing off, that's for sure. It'll be a quick lead time if we don't get there.
All right.
And if we don't get there, we'll bring horses like Lion Queen into it. Just Call Me Mickey. Them sort of horses will come in, but I think our best chance is leading, and that's what we'll be trying to do. We'll be coming out hard, yeah.
Like it, well, Shannon's certainly the right man for the job. He'll certainly be edging things up in the early stages. And as you touch, I guess the luxury of having a couple of representatives in a race like this, Mike, is that if it does happen to go a little pear-shaped in that regard, then your other runner, as you touched on, Lion Queen, then gets an opportunity to come into the race.
Yeah, the harder they go, better it'll suit her, because she's just a dead set stayer, so... and even if we do get there easy, we've got to keep running along, making it hard for Bondi's horse. I think it's the horse to beat. Just Call Me Mickey. The main ones will be back in the field, so we've got to keep rolling. So I think, whoever leads has got to keep rolling. They get walking around, letting them get in the race, that's for sure. So, but no, it's good to have two in it, because it's a double chance, 2 chances instead of 1. But it's just. That's for sure.
Yep. Bettor's Pride, is he a strong Derby chance, you think?
I think definitely. He's tough. He hasn't had a lot of races, the horse. I reckon he'd be lucky to have 20 starts, I reckon. But he's just getting better and better and better. And I think he's my best hope for the Nugget, that's for sure, yeah.
Indeed. And, to this point in time, on the fixed odds with Tab Touch on the second line there at $3.80. Horses put together an excellent record to this point, Mike. 14 starts, 7 wins and 2 placings. So bats up at 50% strike rate, a really good hit rate. No, that's really encouraging for people that were looking to back the horse, how well it's come through that most recent run where there was plenty of work done. And sounds like you've got the horse where you want it to be heading into Friday night.
Yeah, as you said, he got terrorised last Friday night, and for him to only finish a couple of lengths behind on the winner and on Lightning Banner, I thought it was a massive run, and halfway up the straight, Shayne never knocked him around. Once he was beaten because he had tried to run. He did look after him, so I was really glad with the run, and I think that run is done in the water good. I was a little bit worried about it first, but I think it's really tucked him up, and he's ready to go. He's waiting for the blue light to come on. Yeah.
All right. Of course, the Nugget, not the Derby. I meant there. Just Call Me Mickey at $3.20. Mike is the favourite. Bettor's Pride and also Lion Queen, your 2 hopes there at $15. There is a market up there with Tab Touch. Plenty of other runners on the night as well tomorrow night. Race number 4. Can you make a case, Mike, for Flying Rumour or Blitzen By?
No. Not really. He may run a place if he gets the right sort of run, but he needs a lot of luck. He's not the same class as Mr. Smarty and them sort of horses, but he may run a place. A little bit of luck, he might run a place, yeah.
Cover Note goes around in race number 6.
Yeah, well, you're sitting down, Shorty.
Yes.
I think he's a great each way chance. But also, I don't know what price he is, but we've up-tempoed his work and he's working good, and if he just gets a little bit of luck, they will know he's there at the finish, that's for sure.
All right, that's a nice push for Cover Note. I'm actually out here tomorrow night, so that might well give me something to have a cheer on in race number 6. And you finish...
Don't go pinching the market, Shorty, that's all. Don't go pinching the market.
You're safe with me, Mike. You're safe with me. I won't be doing any damage. And
good
race
man.
Number 9, we see Dark Eyes and Quinton. They have both drawn wide there in 8 and 9. How do you see things panning out there?
Well, Quinton might be starting. He had a bit of colic yesterday, so the vet came out and had to treat him, so he has to come out, which I'll scratch him this morning. But Dark Eyes, it's not the best of draws, but he's got good gate speed. We can either go forward or go back. It's only 8 horses in the field now, so it's 7, but it's not a scratching wild card. So it's a small field. He can go forward, come back. I think he's a great each way. I think he's a good chance. Yeah, whatever bets you know will win the race, but I wouldn't swap him for sure for any other horse in the race. All
right, that's Dark Eyes. Those markets are out with Tab Touch and $4. And Mike, I can let you know, Cover Note, something's happened there. He was $14. I've switched back now into $9.50.
Shorty's on.
I'm not allowed to bet. I'm not allowed to bet while I'm working, Mike, so it wasn't me, but somebody's like...
You're not allowed to do a lot of things, but that's what rules are for.
Very nice.
$9.50 and $3.10. Still each way, Mike, Cover Note. Race 6.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good each way bet. Yeah.
Beautiful.
You're a market changer.
I'm not a punter, but if I was going to have a bet, I'd be backing him each way. Yeah.
Love it.
Not you, Mike, yeah.
It's nice to know someone's up at 6:29 and tuned into TAB Radio anyway, Mike. Wonderful catching up with you as always. We really appreciate your time. Good luck with all your runs, particularly with Bettor's Pride and also Lion Queen. But now we'll be cheering super hard for Cover Note as well. All the best.
Good on you, boys. Keep the good work up. See you.
There's Mike Reid, and he's got some nice chances, as we've just mentioned there, heading to Gloucester Park tomorrow night. We'll head out to the roads. Shayne Williams not too far away, and we'll also catch up with Meryl Hayley, try and find a winner at Cheltenham, and then also discuss where next to for Delta Sun.
On the Sports Daily, the Shayne train's coming into the station. Here's Shayne Williams with his winners for tonight's WA Greyhound racing.
Hello to you, Shayne Train.
Good morning, Taylor. Good morning, Shorty. How are we today, boys?
Going well, Train. Lovely to hear you with us this morning. Everything ticking on quite nicely. How are your confidence levels heading into Thursday night chasing at Mandurah?
Yeah, so a bad little card there tonight, Shorty, and thought there's a few there and one at nice odds that we could have a play with. But nonetheless, we'll give it a go anyway, Shorty.
All right, well, where's the first one, sir?
Yeah, race 3, number 1, Shine on Lily. She's been thereabouts without winning. Was very good in defeat last week when running 17-14. She draws a cherry where she's a winner 4 from 8 and what looks a pretty open contest. I think the advantage of box 1 could make all the difference here, so I think it's tough to hold out courtesy of that box 1. Race 3, number 1.
Race 3, number 1, Shine on Lily for Tony Scott, coming off that runner-up performance behind Bluey Brown and also draws the cherry. They're all pretty nice factors in favour of Shine on Lily for this evening. What about the second of them, Train?
Yeah, deep into the card, Shorty. Race 11, number 6, Blackpool Viper. Now, I think I seen $8 this morning, so he was first up in the West last week and did have some market support. He showed good early burn, but just couldn't get the front and got cut out at a vital stage there. So I thought we could just forget that run and have something on him tonight. Could be good odds to play each way. Blackpool Viper, race 11, number 6.
All right, $7.50 and $2.15 Blackpool Viper. Well, I know where the next one is. It's race 12, Shane.
Number 6, Atara's Image. Looks like your classic jump and run 300-metre dog was tried not once but twice over the longer 488 journey, but never come close to running out that trip. Much better suited over this trip, full of confidence after winning last 2 over the 300 metres. Safe beginning, and he can bring up the hat-trick here, boys. Race 12, number 6, Atara's Image will be the best bet. Taylor?
All right, best. I'll write down best there. Currently at 165. So 3-1, Shine on Lily, $1.90. 11-6, Blackpool Viper, $7.50. And the best is race 12, number 6, Atara's Image at $1.65.
Train, last night you had a couple of representatives in town. Geez, you're a bit stiff with Red Hot Bernie. Run quick time, just gets off the track a little bit in that home running. That left the door open for Dancing Dennis, who nabbed it by the shortest of possible margins. What was the margin in the end? A nose?
I think it was a half a head. It looked a nose, but yeah, you can't be disappointed. He is what he is. The winner was well supported, Shorty, 950 into 310. So they got the bickies there. But he'll just keep fronting up and he'll win his fair share of races, that little dog. And yeah, you can't be going home disappointed if you get beat a half a head in 1580 odds. So
no,
we'll bat up again and go next week. And unfortunately, he was a short price favourite, but he didn't run badly, that's for sure.
No, 15.8's it's a hot time, and he's a young dog that's going to win an awful lot of races for you, Kennel, heading forward. Busy weekend of chasing upcoming. Anything from your team that we could be watching out for over the next few days, Train, that's working well at home at the minute?
Well, I've been waiting for this moment, Shorty. I was going to release it on Great Greys later, but Rip and Pike is Pike in the last at Kennington on Saturday. I'm hoping the great man can work some magic, and he's got box 7, but he's trying well, so hopefully he can get the job done for the punters on Saturday night.
It's very nice work from you, Train. Race 12, number 7, Rip and Pike, the canine version, Pike in the last on Saturday night at Cannington for the Train. That is magnificent work from you, Shayne. And we look forward to hopefully cheering home Pikey in the last there on Saturday night at Cannington for your good self. Appreciate your time as always. How's your Thursday shaping up? Have you had your brekkie yet?
No brekkie yet, Shorty. We've got a busy morning, trials. Then we'll talk to you a bit later. And, then we can put the feet up and come on and watch that Geelong Cup that was run from yesterday. So what are you laughing at, Taylor?
Oh, well, you just said busy, and then one extra thing is you need to sit on the couch and talk to Shorty. It's not overly, stacked schedule, is it?
No, well, I'm talking about it a bit later on. But
right,
one thing's for sure, boys. One thing for sure. Me old mate Batman will be on Pike in the last on Saturday, so big shout out to him.
All right, good on. Let's hope Robin's with him as well, having a bit of fun. Train, we do look forward to your company a little bit later on Great Greys as well. You mentioned, though, that you'll be having a look at all of the action a little bit later on today there, the rerunning or the running of the Geelong Cup that's been moved from yesterday. Did you like something in the Geelong Cup?
I didn't. I haven't even had a look, Shorty, but I will find something, and we'll have a little play later on. Okay, no, that's good. Just there's a couple of scratchings there. One Smooth Operator and Grand Piero are both out. Gilded Water is now into $1.75 to win the Geelong Cup. Whiskey on the Hill at $5.50. Berkeley Square at $7.50. Changing of the guard $10. Torrenzino, who Glenn Ingram liked yesterday, I think it was around $12 yesterday, but with those scratchings, it's now a $10 chance. Fineo $12. Distrustful Award at $26 and Farrago's at $61. So you've got those to choose from later on, Shayne. Nice to catch up with you. Enjoy the trials. See you, boys. All the best. Talk later, Shorty.
He's been in fine form this week. Shayne Williams, Batman Robin, and what was the butler's name?
Bruce. Was it Bruce?
Maybe. Someone will tell us on the Retrovision text. I haven't watched Batman for a while. It's been a long time. And if anyone is listening and looking for a bet in Geelong, of course, Glenn Ingram on the show yesterday when that meeting was supposed to run, he liked in the last Flying Valley, it was around that $5.50 quote there.
I'd be interested. It's soft 7 rating at the moment for the surface, and I know that just listening yesterday, Glenn was hoping that the rain would be there for Flying Valley, so let's hope that it does remain sort of that soft to heavy. He was sounding like he was more confident the wetter it was for that horse. Yep,
exactly right. All right, our man next door, Seb, he was very quick. Alfred's the butler.
Alfred, yes, nice work from you, Seb. Bruce, well, I think Bruce, that might have been the name. That was his real name, wasn't it? Yeah. Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
You always got to watch out for a man with 2 first names, TC. Last name is a surname.
No good.
Oh, I mean, Jack Anthony. Think back to
Jack Anthony, there's a blast. He kicked a late goal for Collingwood to beat Adelaide in a semi-final. He's all right.
Yeah,
that's probably where it ended for him. But that's
dangerous,
right.
Dangerous Butler, the same man.
Story coming out now, just reading on Fox Sports News. Cameron Munster has ruled out a move to the Perth Bears in 2027, declaring he will complete the final 2 years of his contract at the Storm.
That's a setback.
They lost, obviously, one of their young guns who's a little bit of a different setup. He's going to play a year for the Eels and then he's going to go to the Broncos the year after.
Yeah, I heard that chat that you had yesterday with Diggers in relation to how that all might pan out. That's 1 year, but there's no chance of actually signing him full time. It's like you must have a huge opinion of the guy to actually want to have him, knowing that you're only getting him not as the finished article, but you're happy to invest in him, but then watch him. I think he goes up to Brisbane after that, doesn't he?
Yep,
by all reports. Holy moly, what a unique setup.
Yeah, well, we were talking about it during the trade period with the AFL, and are we, mature enough to let players just say, yep, Tom De Koning, for example, halfway through the year say, yeah, I'm off to St Kilda, that's fine. And we're here in the NRL, we're going 2 teams in advance.
For the next 4 years, like that far out. So it's nuts, isn't it? I think they're really mature and comfortable with it. And one thing that I think we can probably learn from it when you look at the game of AFL is these players are professional enough, and I can't remember a player being questioned on the way through for not being fully committed to the club they're at, knowing that they've got another club the year after. Yep. And I think we sometimes underestimate just how professional athletes are. It only damages their brand if they're not firing whatever team they're playing for. So, and I think we'll see that a bit this year with Zach Merritt. We talk about people saying, it's going to be bad for club culture and, he might not put in. I think in reality, they know if they don't, the year after they're worth a pie and sauce.
People move on pretty quickly anyway.
They do.
And you forget by round one.
And you have to in today's world. But, geez, there was probably a bit more noise than normal in his backyard through this period. So that'll be an interesting watch. But I think, everyone throws their arms around each other at the end of the day. And players are going to chase the best possible deal that they can get, and I don't blame them for that.
No, exactly right. And it's we've gone 5 days, I think, a little bit quiet in the world of AFL, and then we got the news yesterday about Essendon offering Josh Weddle $1 million a year.
What did you think of that?
They're going to offer him that contract at the end of next season. And I'm thinking, geez, it's going to be a long year.
Isn't it just? Not even, 3 or 4 days out from...
Give us a month off.
Somebody. And I think because the reporters have been in that space so much, they're already sort of looking ahead for what's next. And that, for me, I just thought, give us a fortnight off at least. But
is that Josh Weddle's manager just putting that out there, asking at the end of next year he might get a raise at Hawthorn?
Jacking up the prices, TC. Jacking up the prices. He is a fine player, though, by the same token.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so Shorty, our listeners have the chance to go into the draw for a $100 Tab Touch voucher today. Scotty Embry's best race 3, number 12. Take him on. Westbound, the last time we looked was around that $1.65 quote, I think was the shortest price runner on the program. So if Westbound does win, if you're able to find a winner elsewhere on the day there at Geraldton today, you're likely to go into the draw. That'll be all worked out tomorrow and sent out. There's a little bit of footy news doing the rounds. We'll chat to Brad Hardy about that. Oscar Allen on the back page of the paper today has a little bit to say. Andy Brayshaw says he's going to put his hand up for Victoria in the State of Origin as well. So hopefully all the top line players do that. If they're fit and firing, hopefully they come here to Optus Stadium on February 14.
I'm a very proud West Australian TC, but when you match these two sides up next to each other, the timing of this State of Origin game for WA, just in relation to our depth at the moment within the top level AFL ranks, is a little bit thin in comparison to the Big V. It could be a little bit one-sided, this game, if both sides turn up and play to their very best. I think the Vics might have a little bit on us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll still be there cheering, though, hard.
You going?
Yeah, I'll go for sure. I mean, it brings back some great memories, and I know it won't be the same. It's a pre-season game. There won't be the same level of ferocity, I wouldn't have thought, but there's still a lot of mighty fine players that'll be on show. And by that time, mid-February, you're looking for a footy fix. So my boys are both
month off.
My boys are both footy lunatics, so we'll probably get along and cheer hard for the boys representing WA. Hope they put up a good fight.
Beautiful. And of course, we've got the one day between Australia and India today, just after 7 o'clock. We might have a little bit of a closer look at those markets and see if you've got a bet for us, Shorty.
Yes.
That's right, if you've worked that out.
Yes, I have.
Hopefully we'll also be able to find a bet at Geraldton today, because Meryl Hayley takes a nice team. Had a nice winner there at Belmont yesterday as well. Meryl, good morning and thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, guys. How are we?
Very well.
Very, very well. How did Delta Sun pull up?
Yeah, great. Really good.
You'd have been delighted with that performance yesterday, Meryl. Loved the way that the horse just clicked up late when Luckdar went for the horse. There was plenty under the bonnet and one with a leg in the air.
Yeah, it was a pretty arrogant win, but you would hope it would be coming back to that sort of grade.
Yep. Where's he go next?
Yeah, undecided. We would sort of just obviously we're pointing towards the Fair and the Guineas, and we'll just stick to that path.
Yep, all right. So that gap between runs up to the 1,400 metres, he seems like a horse that would enjoy that. And I say gap between runs because it's going to be 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, that'll be fine. He stepped up from the 1,000 to the 14 as a 2-year-old and did it well. So, yeah, I'm not worried about that at all.
And nice for the confidence of the horse yesterday, Mel. You touched on it. You would expect that given the ability levels that the horse has. But there's plenty of horses in the same scenario that don't always turn up and get the job done. I'm sure you would have breathed a sigh of relief. Did you get everything out of the race you were hoping for? And clearly confidence is a nice thing for anybody to have, human or horse.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the aim of the game, was to just get him out there, get a win on the board, get the money in the bank. So that we, get into the races we need to get into. And I think it would have done his confidence a world of good to breeze around the way that he did.
Has he always given you the impression he was above average, or has he been a little bit of a work in progress?
Oh, no, absolutely. He's always shown me heaps. He was very, very forward as a 2-year-old. And obviously we missed out on a couple of runs with a couple of barrier mishaps. And, we sort of just didn't end up with the prep that we wanted to, but we always knew he had the ability there.
And the horse itself, do you get the feeling that with age and more time on race day that the horse will just continue to improve with that maturity?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it. Well, today, another busy day. Off to the races. Yesterday, Lactar, when questioned, suggested that Diablo Lad was going to be one of your better hopes at the races today. Do you concur?
Yeah. Nice drop back in class for him. And he's another horse. He's just a bit on the soft side and needs the confidence, Yeah.
What have you made of his last two runs?
They've been really good. He obviously showed me a heap as a 3-year-old, and then for whatever reason just didn't come back. So we gave him a really long break. I think he had 9 months in the paddock, and he's come back really nicely. And he's just a horse that needs everything his own way. He needs to get it pretty cheap.
He draws barrier 1 today, and it's really similar to what we saw there yesterday with Delta Sun. That drop back in class can so often be very favourable for horses. Diablo Lad gets that after finishing only 3 lengths behind Asphalt last time out there at Ascot. Drops back to this Geraldton 58 plus this afternoon. Draws barrier 1. It ticks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. He's drawn to get a nice economical run, so we'll be doing our best.
All right, race number 7, Meryl. You take 2 chances to the race, both at the top of the market. He Will Do Us, who was really impressive at the first meeting up there in Geraldton, and then Master Alex, who loves the track. Who's the better of the 2 chances, do you think?
I would have to say He Will Do Us, only because he's 4 now. He's quite a progressive horse, and he's come back in really good order. Yep. He was actually supposed to go to Geraldton last week, and I thought he was the best of my 3 chances, and I had to scratch him because he had a little floating mishap. But that's all good, and he's back on track. Master Alex is it's his first campaign for me, so I don't really know a lot about the horse, but he's a jet. He's easy as.
Yeah, all right. So He Will Do Us didn't miss any work, and everything's been fine after that mishap?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Were you expecting that performance first up?
His trial was really good. Bo Banovic Edwards rode him for me at trials, and he just coasted around and wasn't put under any pressure, and he was taking ground off, it was in Delta Sun's trial, actually. It was quite a good trial.
And in the last, Divine Anana goes around here. It loves this circuit. 4 starts at the track. It's won 3 of them, and is another horse that comes in really good form, having won its last couple in nice fashion. Draws barrier 5, getting just under the each way odds about Divine Anana in the last. Can it bring up a winning hat-trick this afternoon, Meryl?
I think she can. I think her win over 1400 was far superior to her coming back to the 12. I think a 1400 right up her alley, and like you said, she gets a drop in the weights and a decent barrier. I think she'll be running a really good race.
Who's the best of those 4 today?
On paper, you would have to say Diablo Lad with the drop in class. But, yeah, He Will Do Us is going to run a top run too.
All right, that's race 4, number 3, Diablo Lad, and He Will Do Us lines up in race number 7. All the best, Meryl, today there at Geraldton and then in the Faritha with Delta Sun.
Thank you very much.
There's Meryl Hayley unearthing a very nice horse. Well, not really unearthing. I think we knew he was a very nice horse, but he was able to get back into the winners list there at Belmont yesterday, Delta Sun. So heads to the 1400 metres next out of the Faritha. Everything going to plan.
Quality performance, and looks to have plenty of big wins left in store. And I'll tell you, there's 4 runners there this afternoon for Meryl, and she's spoken really highly of the prospects of all 4 of them. Potentially, He Will Do Us a little more than Master Alex, but she wasn't discussing it as if it had no hope there. But Diablo Lad, and certainly He Will Do Us. And Divine and Anna in that last at a nice price is Geraldton Specialist TC, like your good self, and it certainly looks to be one, if you're looking for a bit of value in the last there, that you can definitely have a close look at, aiming up for 3 on the bounce.
Yeah, done a really good job over the last couple of seasons, Meryl, of identifying horses that are able to go up there to Geraldton, cope with the travel on the day, and then go to the races and run really well. Diablo Lad looks to be really well placed at $1.80 with Tab Touch at the moment. All right, we'll take a quick break here on the Sports Daily. We'll come back and tell you what's upcoming.
Make Tab Radio your station of choice each weekday morning from 5:30 with the Sports Daily.
Taylor Cortland and David Short joining you this morning, not too far away from getting to the news at 7 o'clock, and then we'll catch up with Malcolm Conn on the other side. We'll also have a little bit of time after 7 to chat a bit of cricket, Shorty. We'll make use of your knowledge in that space. We might try and get you to fix the Aussie batting order too, if you could.
I think I might need a little bit more than my help in that space, TC. But I will say it's looking a lot better sort of 3 weeks into our domestic season than what it was prior to that.
Yep, absolutely. Gregor's got in touch. Oh, he's calling the Vic soft, calling off the Geelong races yesterday because of the wind. If that was the case in your hometown in Geraldton, TC, then they would never host a meeting. That's probably fair. A lot of wind up there.
It's a blowy venue.
It was getting wild there yesterday.
Oof.
And they were lucky to miss the rain, to be fair. All that rain flooded through early in the morning. So, interesting day. And unfortunately, they had to put it back because that Geelong Cup is a win and you're in to the Melbourne Cup too.
Yes,
so it doesn't exactly help connections.
Interesting.
Hopefully all okay with one smooth operator. You mentioned that scratched.
Yeah, they did say yesterday that there were a few people in the marquees were starting to get a little on the nervous side when you get the old hammer out and start plugging in all the pegs into the ground. Apparently there are a few of the pegs that were starting to rip out of the ground. A few of the punters. It might be time to maybe head to the local pub and have a few quiet drinks where there's a bit of bricks and mortar around us.
Yeah,
I don't blame them.
Yeah, no, exactly right. We're only a couple of minutes away for the first slate of NBA games getting underway too. If you're looking to have an investment there with Tab Touch, a couple of key matchups too. The Orlando Magic, they host the Miami Heat, 128, 375. The Heat are outsiders, and probably the key matchup of the day is the Cavaliers and Knicks, both teams expected to be very close to the top of the Eastern Conference. Cavaliers are at $1.83. This game in New York, they're the outsiders at $2. Knicks.
I was impressed with the Knicks last season. They did some really good things. Jalen Brunson in particular had a hell of a season. He was outstanding for the Knicks last season. Can just see Spike Lee getting fizzed right up courtside as we speak, TC.
Old Spike. Nice. 7:32, the 76ers take on the Celtics. In years gone by, that's a big matchup, but unfortunately the 76ers are not quite the force they used to be, and the Celtics, they're battling injury. Jason Tatum not going to be there for much of the season after he was injured in the playoffs there, but Philadelphia 280 and Boston at 145.
Speaking of grudge matches and nasty opponents from years gone by, Detroit at Chicago. Wow, there used to be some very, very heated clashes back in the day of Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer and the like. So when they took on the Chicago Bulls, they did not pull any punches. It used to be very, very physical when those two sides met each other. They are both a shadow of where they used to be, though, it must be said. Detroit $1.70, Chicago $2.17, that line at 3. Good luck to Josh Giddey with the Chicago Bulls this season.
Absolutely. Richard's text in. He was on the back of what we were talking about with contracts and the movement in the NRL v AFL, Shorty. You only need to look at the NBA player. They move left, right and centre, says Richard, which is very true. I think they get traded halfway through games at some stages.
Yeah, NFL even more so, isn't it, with some of those punters and things like that.
They get signed on a Thursday, they have to play on a Saturday. And
jump on a plane, meet your new teammates, away you go.
Yeah, don't even meet them for half the time. Sam's also texted in just quickly, is there any chat around the market move for Mr. Brightside in the Gold Rush? Flux like that don't tend to come from nowhere. Will Hayes, was on drive on Tuesday morning, I think, Shorty, and he indicated it's a strong possibility at Mr. Brightside. There's a fair bit to play out, obviously, but there is a strong possibility that Perth is on the radar for Mr. Brightside, which would be outstanding.
Huge.
For our local carnival.
Double digits, Group 1, just been an absolute star and so consistent. Even when he's not winning, he's hitting the podium in these big races.
Awesome again Saturday.
Yeah, he's a great horse.
Absolutely. All right, out to the news and we'll chat cricket on the other side.
Make Tab Radio your station of choice each weekday morning from 5:30 with the Sports Daily.
Welcome back to the Sports Daily. Taylor Cortland and Digby Beecham. I was on autopilot. Sorry, Shorty.
It's
David
okay.
Short with
it's
you.
okay. I love the little man. There's no problem there.
We just got past saying Tim Walker and Digby Beecham. We have missed his favourite segment, though. I'll play this thing. This will be one right up your alley, Shorty.
What happened on this day in years gone by?
And I reckon there's one here that you'd be able to tell us a fair bit about. On this day in 1998, American singer Britney Spears released "Baby One More Time."
Oh yes, yeah.
Good
I'm
one.
familiar with it.
Couple of nightclubs.
She's been a little erratic in recent times, it must be said. But through that period, she was a wholesome young lady and producing music for people that like that sort of poppy sort of arrangement. And she sold a lot of records.
Something went a little bit skewy along the way.
I think so. Yeah,
But that's all right. We're not all perfect.
no, we certainly are not.
On this day, 2001, Apple introduced the iPod.
Ooh,
That changed things.
didn't it? You'd like to have had a small percentage of world turnover on that product on the way through.
Absolutely. On this day in 1941, the Disney animated classic Dumbo had its world premiere.
You familiar with Dumbo TC, with your little ones?
I know him.
The
we
elephant with
haven't-
the big ears?
No, we haven't got to TV shows just yet. They're not all that interested in sitting down and watching the TV at this stage.
I can understand that. Yeah, so Dumbo was he was the little elephant with the blue elephant with the big ears, and he used to fly around with those big old flappers.
Yeah. On this day in 1983, suicide bombers drove truckloads of high explosives into the barracks of US Marines and French paratroopers in Beirut, killing 241 US servicemen and 58 French troops.
Oof.
That's a featured event, and we'll mention him in sport as well, but birthday today, October 23, 1940, Pelé. Pelé born on this day.
I like, hey, just quickly to TC, 1982. Culture Club were at number 1 on the UK singles chart with Do You Really Want to Hurt Me, the group's first chart topper and the first of 12 UK top 40 hits. The song became a major hit after their memorable debut performance on Top of the Pops when they stood in for Shayne Stevens, who was ill and not able to appear. So up stepped Boy George and co. I think he was seeing Marilyn at the time, Georgie boy, at that stage, and they really made a splash from that point onwards. Culture Club, Boy George and co.
It's on your playlists?
No, but I do remember it. They when they came to Australia and toured, Molly Meldrum had them on Countdown back in the day. Yeah. Yes, Molly, and gave it the old punters, do yourself a favour and go out and get this particular album. But they were popular, very popular through the 80s, Culture Club and Boy George.
Were you a Snoop Dogg fan?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You like the AFL?
I didn't really know, because that wasn't the real Snoop Dogg. He was watered down. That's cordial. Yep. That's cordial. It's almost like somebody's put a drop of lemon juice in the water cooler. It was to be fair, I saw him when I was over in the States. I was 21. It's 28 years ago that I saw him with Dr. Dre, and there's uncensored, and there was a bit going on, it must be said. It's a while ago, nearly 3 decades ago, but they were uncensored. There was no, just given what happened in the build-up to the grand final this year with everything that had happened with Isaac Rankin, and I totally understand it, and it's 2025, and you can't say a word wrong or offend anybody, so it had to be so PC'd up to the point where that was nothing like Snoop Dogg, to be fair. But, it served its purpose, and it gave the event a little bit of extra eyeballs from different parts of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we said, he embraced the moment as well. He took on the AFL and did plenty of media as well. So he was great. Snoop Dogg.
Snap one from deep in the pocket with the Dacos brothers.
Boys, yeah.
He's pretty talented, isn't he, Snoopy?
Yeah.
For an older dude.
Yeah, a sportsman.
He'd be nearly 60-odd, wouldn't he? Maybe older.
Not quite 60. I think we looked that up. Not quite just yet.
Okay.
But he'll feature heavily for the LA Olympics in a couple of years' time, you'd think?
Big style.
He'd be
Big
right.
Style. Yeah.
Front and centre. All right, we'll get to our next guest here on the Sports Daily.
Make Tab Radio your station of choice. Each weekday morning from 5:30 with the Sports Daily.
Time now on the Sports Daily to chat cricket, and when we do that here on Tab Radio in Perth, we turn to Malcolm Conn. Malcolm, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
How's everything going in the build-up to the Ashes, do you think? How are the Aussies going?
Well, mate, it's a bit of an awkward one, isn't it, with Cummins' injury. He admitted himself on Monday that he was less likely to play the first test than likely, and the latest word I got late yesterday was that he started running again, but he's not bowling. He admits that he needs at least 4 weeks of bowling to be able to play in a test match. Well, the test match is only really 4 weeks and a couple of days away, so he's right. He's less likely than likely to play. In fact, I'd say he's no chance. And raises some interesting scenarios. Boland had a terrific finish to the Sheffield Shield match against New South Wales, bowling for Victoria. Really went through their middle order and won a game that they could well have lost. So he looks in pretty good shape. But the big question is how long will everyone last going through the Ashes, given that all of Australia's bowlers are in their sort of mid to late 30s?
Yeah, that's the key to the series. And I think it's pretty similar on the other side of the coin as well, Malcolm. You look at England, and if they're all fit and firing, the likes of Archer and Wood and Stokes, I thought, was back to his best with the ball against India during the English summer. They're three key players for England, but they're also ageing and have had some injury problems. They've kept it pretty quiet, the English camp, in regards to the fitness and health of that trio in particular. Have you managed to pick up what state of health that trio are in and how likely they are to be playing in the first test?
Well, they're certainly nursing their key players. Currently, England are in New Zealand playing a T20 series. Archer and Wood clearly aren't playing. Archer is playing the one-day series after that, but he's going to be rested from at least the first game. So they're trying to get them cherry ripe for the Ashes. Wood's an interesting one. I mean, clearly at his peak, possibly the fastest bowler in the world, but rarely plays a full series. He's now in his mid-30s, and he didn't bowl a ball in anger for all of last summer in England. He had a knee operation. He had some complications with swelling. He's been bowling indoors, sort of in the tents, as you have to do in England over the winter at the academy in Loughborough, but still yet to play a game in anger. So he may not actually play a game of any sort until England's only warm-up game when they get here in November, and that'll be England versus the England Lions. They bring a sort of a shadow second 11 out, which is very handy if you need extra players, and also gives players experience, obviously. Stokes, he's had shoulder problems. He can be their best bowler, Stokes. He's a really important cog, as we know, both as a bowler and a batsman, but he's ageing, and he's going to be interesting to see how his shoulder stands up. I think that these senior players on both sides are very fortunate that we've got significant gaps between the first few tests. I think there's something like 10 days to 2 weeks between each of the first three test matches before that sort of really tight Boxing Day, New Year turnaround at the end in Melbourne and Sydney. So it'll give players more time to recover, but certainly a lot of questions to be answered as we go through this series.
A lot of questions around the Australian batting lineup. That's been the focus of a lot of the build-up at this stage, Malcolm. Two-part question. What does the batting lineup look like? And do England have the bowlers to expose a batting lineup for Australia that might not be in the best of form?
Well, yeah, good question on both of them. At their peak, yes, with England. There's so much hanging on this Perth test, obviously. The Australian batting lineup isn't ideal, but the great thing is that Marnus Labuschagne has scored 4 centuries and 6 hits for Queensland already. He's scored 2 one-day hundreds, 2 Sheffield Shield hundreds. From the chatter that we gather, it looks like Marnus will open the batting with Usman Khawaja with Green at 3. Now, not ideal, but Steve Smith is the complicating factor, unfortunately, when he moved up to open the batting when Warner eventually retired. And he had a very mixed bag. He averaged 28, went back to number 4. And now, having been moved, the selectors are reluctant to move him. Well, it's a bit of a shame when Warner went that they just didn't push everyone up one, Marnus to open Smith at 3, because statistically at least, 3 is Smith's best place. He averages 67 batting at 3. And I'd love to see him at 3, Green at 4, where he bats for Western Australia and has done well for Australia. And Marnus, I think if he can bat in the top three, then you can probably open. And given all the circumstances, is probably his best shot. But I'm just a little bit uncomfortable with one Marnus opening, even though he's in such good nick, but particularly Green at 3. So hopefully, given that he batted at 3 in the West Indies and did pretty well on difficult wickets, that he can stand up. He's playing the next couple of Shield games, and we've just got to hope that top order hold together, because if they don't, it could get pretty awkward.
Malcolm, the batting lineup that you suggested just there, so it'd be Khawaja, Labuschagne, Green, Smith, Head. Would that allow the all-round position there at number 6 for Beau Webster to remain in the side, or how would you see that panning out?
Yes, I expect Webster to play. In fact, Bailey, the chairman of selectors, in a recent press conference basically sort of said that, as good as ticked off Webster to play. Webster was keen to play the last Shield game. He's had an ankle injury. He didn't play the first one. And Bailey said, look, give yourself another week or two, get yourself right, you'll be okay. And so Bailey's playing in this next round of Shield. Not Bailey, sorry, he hasn't played for a while. Webster's playing in this next round of Shield games starting on Tuesday when Tas play Victoria in Melbourne. So I'd be very surprised if he didn't play, and I'd be disappointed if he didn't play, because he's played some really important innings for Australia, and he's looked like he's just the consummate professional, the 10-year first-class cricketer. He's walked in, he's unfussed, he's treated each situation he's needed to. He's made 4 half-centuries, and a couple of those have been the difference between winning and losing Test matches. So his bowling's fairly innocuous, and even though he's tall and he does get a bit of bounce, and I'd be a bit worried about him if wickets flattened out and the Baz ballers get set, but you've got to hope that Australia does some early damage and settle things down there as well.
I'm sure it'll be a discussion point for a couple of weeks still to come. Malcolm, just switching attention to the ODIs at the moment. Unfortunately, over here in Perth on the weekend, we didn't get the full 100 overs in, but it looks like today in Adelaide the weather's going to hold up and Australia take on India. What are we looking forward to out of this match, and can we take anything from today going forward?
Well, we've got a couple of changes by the look of it. It looks like Carey will come back in for Philippe, which is a bit tough on Philippe, who had a good game in Perth, but Carey's obviously warming up for the Ashes, and it looks like Zampa's coming back in as well. Given that so few players had an opportunity in Perth, I'd be surprised if there were too many changes. But Labuschagne is in the squad, and I'd be interested to see if they can squeeze him in. I doubt it. One interesting little aside for this game, which, as you say, the weather looks good. The pitch apparently looks like a good batting track, and Virat Kohli's made 500s in Adelaide across all formats, more than any other ground in his career. So you'd think that if he was ever going to step up after a difficult game in Perth, then this could be it. So I think there'll be a bit of interest in that.
Yeah, those square boundaries are certainly to the liking of plenty of the top order. And Travis Head, I think it's a really important game for Travis Head as well, Malcolm, going into today. It'd be great for his confidence to have a really nice hit on his home deck. We've seen him play so many wonderful innings at the Adelaide Oval throughout the course of his career.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. And Travis would like some runs, obviously. And as you say, it's a terrific place to get them. And he's got the golden opportunity, hasn't he, opening the batting. So if he gets away, it'll be great for the home crowd. It'll also be great for Australian cricket that Travis has got some serious international runs under his belt.
It's also good for Australian cricket, the Women's World Cup at the moment. Malcolm?
Oh, it's been exceptional. The women, they just go from strength to strength. They're incredible. They lost their captain, Hayley, going into the match against England, and were 4 for 68 in reply to England's 9 for 244. And they just ran it down with 10 overs to spare. Incredible. Annabelle Sutherland and Ash Gardner in the middle order put on 180. Sutherland 98 not out and got dropped trying to get 100 towards the end, and Gardner 104 not out. So they were back on top of the table, the Australian women. Won every game except one, which was a washout, and they really do look to business again. So it's been terrific the way that it doesn't seem to matter who struggles in the batting order or who struggles with the ball. I've got that many options that they just keep getting home. So, no, very exciting.
The depth is just remarkable. And as you touch on there, Ash Gardner last night, 104 off just 72 balls, 16 boundaries. She went at a strike rate of 142, but the depth is magnificent. And hopefully all is well for Elisa Healy to return to that side as we head towards the finals. But if she doesn't, as you said, the depth is outstanding. Malcolm, great catching up with you this morning. We really appreciate your time here on the Sports Daily. Can't wait for this summer of cricket and the Ashes upcoming. I'm sure the boys will keep in touch through that period. Thanks for your time this morning.
Cheers, guys.
There's Malcolm Conn talking all things cricket, and I'm sure we're not going to resolve too much this morning, Shorty. It's going to be a conversation going on for the next 3 weeks, but the Aussie batting lineup and how it looks. I think every man and also their dog has a little bit of a different idea as to how it should look come the West Test over here, Test number 1 of the Ashes.
Correct.
What's your thoughts?
Look, I was a little surprised at how strong Malcolm was in regards to Webster being locked in at that number 6 spot. So for me, we touched on it just before we went to Malcolm. For me, the most important thing for Australian cricket from what we've seen the last 10 years is that McManus Labuschagne is confident and playing well to protect the middle order and beyond. And right now, the form that he's back in, and credit to him because he was copping a lot of criticism. He'd gone right off the boil. But the way that he has turned his season around and his form around in the last 3 to 4 weeks with 400s and big hundreds, 3 of those have been big hundreds, he's right back as in as good a nick as I've seen him for a period of time. So what I would be doing is now not trying to put him out of his comfort zone and send him up to open, but leave him where he's most comfortable at number 3. Then I would put Green at 6. Unfortunately, Bo Webster would miss out, and it is rough on him. He hasn't done anything wrong, but for me, having a fit and firing McManus Labuschagne at number 3 is more important to the makeup of the structure than having a fit and firing Bo Webster at number 6. Mm-hmm. He's a bonus, Bo Webster, if he's making runs for you at number 6. McManus Labuschagne has to be that man that can go out there, make hundreds at 3, bat for long periods of time and protect the likes of Travis Head and Green and Steve Smith, who'll be batting behind him. So I'd have him at 3.
If Cameron Green can't bowl, does that come into it?
Potentially. For the first test, I would just play... I would still play Green even if he can't bowl, and I'd be comfortable that Boland, along with Hazelwood and also Stark and Lyon, can get the job done on this, what's likely to be a bowler-friendly Perth deck. You do have the option of some other guys within the team that can sort of help out with some bits and pieces overs, and there is a nice gap between the first and second test for them to recover as well, which I'd bear in mind in that space. So what that would mean, though, is that I would opt for a traditional opener at the top of the order to team up with Usman Khawaja, and I think you can sort of make a few different choices if you want to go into that space. Constas is not the guy I'd go with just at the moment. I don't think his form is elite. I think Jake Weatherold's a young guy that's really put his hand up. Well, he's not that young anymore, but he's a guy that's put his hand up to be the man at the top of the order for the Aussies with his Sheffield Shield runs over the last sort of 12 months in particular. He's done some great things. I think he's a form man that would certainly relish the opportunity at the top of the order, and he's quite an aggressive batsman. So I think he would complement Khawaja quite well, who's turned into a more dour operator the older he's got.
Yep, all right. And then the only one probably else in there, because I think everyone sort of put a line through Constance. Unfortunately, his form at the moment's not good enough. Matt Renshaw would be the only other one that would be in the conversation to come into the team, wouldn't he?
I'd say that's probably a fair shout, particularly given he's been recently included into the Aussie one-day lineup. So I think that's more about him just being comfortable in and around the Aussie setup once again. There have been discussions and people throwing around Mitch Marsh's name. I think Mitch, by his own admission, said he'll have had 6 beers by the time lunch day 1 of that first test at the Optus Stadium's run and one.
Look, he won't be alone.
No, he won't. He will not be. And look, to be fair, his white ball form over in New Zealand was great. He's come back and made runs again in the white ball format. And he has played well against England in the past, but I think most people expect that his test papers are probably just about stamped now, and he can be incredibly proud of what he's achieved on the way through. But I think it would probably take Australia to be in some pretty significant trouble in this series for them to roll the dice and bring him back into this test outfit as good as he's been.
All right, so day one, the Aussies get sent in. Day one of the Ashes. Your lineup, if you're chief selector, looks like Weatherald, Khawaja, Marnus, Smith, Head, Green.
Yes, sir. And then you've got Carey, you'd have Stark, and then we do have a pretty long tail. I think you'd just about have Nathan Lyon batting at number 9, which is the first time in a long time he'd have batted that high, I'd suggest. And then Boland and also Hazelwood, they're not even rabbits. They're ferrets. They bat after the rabbits. So we do have a bit of a long tail when Cummins doesn't play. So we're almost 6.5 out, all out, the Aussies. And if England have Jofra Archer and Wood firing fit and well, that can really penetrate against a tail end sort of lineup, we could have some challenges on the way through. It's certainly not cut and dry. Home ground advantage is big for us. I really want to know the health of the fast bowling ranks for both sides, to be honest. And I don't know that Cummins will play much at all this series. And I'd like to know more about where Wood and Archer are for England. They're so important for them, but they're ageing quicks. And Malcolm made the point that they've really just about been unsighted. Nobody really knows. We're only 3.5 weeks away from this test match.
I think I read a story that Archer left because they're obviously in New Zealand at the moment playing some T20s, the England setup. He's come to Australia already.
Yeah, just to settle in and acclimatise, and he's had his injury,
some training,
injury problems. Jofra Archer, but his best is elite. He can bowl very, very rapid fire spells, and have batsmen on our wicket certainly jumping and hopping around a little bit, particularly with the new balls and also with the pink balls, which are a part of the Test summer to watch out for as well. So can't wait though for this upcoming Ashes series. The market with Tab Touch for the series. I'll do the full preview heading into this particular series like we do each and every summer. It's Australia $1.65, drawn series $8 and England at $3. They were about that $3.40 range going back a couple of weeks ago, so Aussie's a little bit easy. Maybe that Pat Cummins news might have sort of had a little bit of a bearing on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely, you'd think so. We'll take a closer look at the ODI. Nick Ashman and Jules Vallance coming up very shortly as well on the Sports Daily. We're looking forward to a big Saturday of racing, of course, Cox Plate Day.
Make Tab Radio your station of choice each weekday morning from 5:30 with the Sports Daily.
Shorty joining me today, and listeners, it's your final chance this week to win a $100 Tab Touch voucher. Beat the tipsters 0427 789 571. Scott Embry today at Geraldton. His best bet comes up in race 3, number 12, Westbound. That winner will be drawn out tomorrow. We're about to try and find some winners at Moonee Valley and also Randwick. But before then, Shorty, we have an ODI being played today.
We do.
Any plays that you can suggest to the listeners that you like or you might be dabbling into?
Yeah, no, all I can do is give you what I have done personally, and I have stepped into Mitch Marsh once again. So his last 4 games for Australia in the white ball format, he's got the job done for the punters. So no reason to jump off. And once again, we're getting a pretty decent price, $4 about Mitch Marsh to be the leading run scorer for the Aussies. We saw in the first game against India, he was not out, just under 50. And then prior to that over in New Zealand, there were a few games where almost no one else was getting double figures, and he was, closing in on 100. So he's seeing them very well, the Bison, at the moment, and he's in a good frame of mind. And when that's the case, he normally goes on with the job. He sort of has patches of form where he really hits it and goes big. So let's hope that's the case today. And if that is the case, those square boundaries at Adelaide, you want to be almost wearing a helmet if you're sitting there having a quiet sip this afternoon, because the Bison can generally clear those pretty comfortably. So that's my play, $4. I think we've got a little speciale for the Tab Touch account customers as well, which might get us a nice little booster on that particular price there for the players today as well. Let me just quickly check that.
So that'll be the listeners. If you log into your Tab Touch account, top run scorer Australia, all you'll have to do is put that in your bet slip, and I think the details would show up.
Indeed. Yeah, you're spot on there. And we've got the little 50% profit plus that you can jack up there as well.
So that'll make it $6.
It goes from $4 to $5.50.
Okay.
Which is not a bad price about the bison.
On the second line of betting there, $3.75. Travis Head is the favourite to be the top run scorer there for Australia. Of course, there is an over-under on the first innings score. Obviously, we don't know who's batting first, but at Adelaide, 275.5.
That's a bet. That's a definite over. Over 275.5. It's a low
total.
It is a low total, and unless there's been somebody go and invade the deck and pour water on it, that should be an over. That should be over. It's a high scoring ground. Very talented batting lineups for both sides, and to be fair, no disrespect to the bowling lineups for these two sides, but they're nothing like what the Test sort of bowling lineups would look like. I think over is a very nice play there, particularly if Australia bat first. You'll be rubbing your hands together.
Yeah, exactly right. So Mitch Marsh at $5.50 with a little bit of an extra boost. Top run scorer for Australia there, and then Shorty suggesting the over 275.5 first innings total. The first ball, what time is that, Shorty?
11:30. It all gets underway, TC. And I'd be kind of thinking, but both sides are capable of getting over the 300 mark fairly comfortably without sort of something crazy going on throughout the course of the innings. They're both, and Adelaide Oval as well. It's not the sort of deck that generally does a heap. It's a get through the first 6 to 8 overs and away you go sort of wicket normally.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. All right, looking forward to that, hopefully. And the weather suggests we will get through all 100 overs if both teams bat out the 50 overs. So, unfortunately, we're not able to do that on the weekend here in Perth. But the weather there in Adelaide, a little bit overcast, but no rain expected. Racing at Randwick on Saturday. We continue to race at Randwick, another Group 1 Spring Champion Stakes. Of course, over here locally, we're keeping an eye on Federalists. We spoke to Michael Hawksey yesterday. Very positive about the chances of Federalists, who's at $21. Shangri-La Boy is the favourite at $3.50, but this next man we are about to speak to, Nick Ashman's got a little bit more than the $3.50, I dare say, after he tipped it to us a couple of weeks ago. Good morning to you, Nick.
Yes, good morning, boys. As they say in the classics, you cannot eat overs, but that's all right. We'll give it a cheer anyway on the weekend. Yeah, $26 he was a couple of weeks ago when we had a chat, and he won that gloaming, I thought, pretty impressively, and he goes into Saturday's race courtesy of a good barrier draw as what I think will be a pretty warm favourite.
All right, $3.50. Attica at $3.90, within the law at $4.80, and then it's just out the door. The rest really $15, and up is the remainder of the field as a market. Are you thinking that's correct?
Yeah, I think that's about right. Look, from a speed map point of view, Shangri-La's got two options here. You can go to the front, which is where he was in the gloaming. Now, the gloaming, by the way, has provided 13 winners since the year 2000 into more than 50% of the winners, the Spring Champion winners, have come from the gloaming stakes in this century. So it really is the dominant lead-up race. He can go to the front if he wants to, but here's the thing. He might also just sit to the outside of the Pearls through that first few hundred metres. Let Champagne Hero come across the stablemate, take up the top spot. I don't think Attica, if they do that, Champagne Hero has got any option but to follow him across. And that might mean Attica's outside lead, the Pearls is behind the leader, and all of a sudden Shangri-La Boys, one out, one back, stalking Attica, which is a lovely position for him as well. That's, I reckon, the absolute best case scenario for him. But if he has to lead, that's also not a bad scenario. So I think either way he gets a good map. Attica's got I don't think any option but to roll forward. He does have the early speed to do it. I know he hasn't always necessarily been on speed, but we know he's got the early speed to do it. So he should be right up there. Horses like Federalist and within the law probably have no option but to go back from their wide gates. The two horses that I think are probably over the odds here, guys, now that we've secured the 26 and Shangri-La Boy, She's Diva, number 14. She ran the best last 200 metres of the race in the gloaming, and she was held up a couple of times in the straight. So she's probably one that you can entertain her at $34, $35, whatever she is now, $31, something like that. She's a nice little two-way play for your listeners. And also number 10, Crusader Voyage. Now, he's been beaten as an odds-on favourite his last two starts. When I look at his sectionals, he does present as just a bit of a at least a mile and a quarter horse, 2,000-metre horse. So he's been beaten in slowly run sort of mile races, 1,500-metre races at his last two starts. Now he gets up to 2,000. he's probably going to get more pace in the race, and he gets a set of blinkers on. He's got the master in his corner, Chris Waller. So if you're playing exotics, trifectas, or if you took the 26 on Shangri-La and you want to have a couple of other big plays, try She's Diva and Crusader Voyage.
All right, a couple of longer odds there. Nick, the Craven Plate over the 1,800 metres. Lindeman's come up really short in the market here, but comes up with a nice draw. Nash on board and was very, very impressive in the Hill Stakes last time out. Is it worthy of including in any multiples, or are we looking for an upset here in the Craven Plate?
Look, I don't know if there'll be an upset, but I don't know if I want to bank on Lindemann as my anchor for a multi. Look, he's found really good form this year. Chris has got him into a really good frame of mind. We saw that even in the autumn. You know, he had form around Veer and the big guns in the autumn that you know boded quite well. You got to remember he was beaten. Well, he split Veer Sistina and Faulkner Park in the Rambit. He wasn't far off Vauban in the Sky High. It's no surprise, and he was third behind Veer and Fangirl in the Very Elegant Stakes and was second to Fangirl first up. It's no surprise to see him do this preparation. He should just come out and win. The only query for me is just that he's getting a little bit deep into a preparation. He's now fifth up, and they just can't go to the well too often. So I don't want to bet against him, but I won't be putting him into my multis. If you want one horse that might be able to cause a minor ball over, but you're not getting a massive price about him, it's Militarise. He was a long way back in Lindemann's Hill Stakes. The race wasn't run at a fast tempo at all, and I don't think he had any hope. The problem is it might be the same again. They've got to find a way to put him a bit closer to the speed. If they can do that, he can cause a ball over fourth up.
All right, race number 7 on the program, the Calendar Presnels. Also for the 3-year-olds, over the mile, scratch 7 and 10. Is there any play in this race? Do we like the race or do we move on?
Yeah. Look, I like Farnicle. He was 11 to 1,400 metres second up last time out. We had a pretty good go at him on our Worksburger product, and he got beaten by O'Hope, who's in this race. But that 11 to 1,400, the pace was fast. They went well above standards for the first 800 metres of that 1,400-metre contest, and that's because everything was winning from up on top of the speed. And in the end, even though he's an on-pace galloper, it was his undoing. He would have been better off if they were winning a little bit out wider that day, because it probably would have taken the pace out of the race. O'Hope's no slouch. He was pretty handy. He was second to Napoleonic 2 starts ago. Napoleonic's one of the favourites for the Group 3 Red Anchor Stakes, and he got the better of Farnicle last time out. So, and then the fly in the ointment, though, is Rivellino. He comes back from the Caulfield Guineas. So my head tells me Farnicle should be able to win this race. He's on the way through. But I'm just worried about, O'Hope, now that he's had that win again, maybe that confidence builder, and also Rivellino just dropping massively back in class. So it's probably a bit of a no-bet race for me.
All right, and the Group 2 Invitation, Miss Roombini, our $4 favourite on the fixed odds, Manal 460, Gangster Granny back in the winners list last time out at $5.50, and the very talented Steffi Magnetica, a $7.50 chance.
I think Miss Rubini, this is her race. The little query, she just jumps up 6.5 kilos, which particularly for the mares is definitely worth a bit. But her, in our sort of data reports we send out to our subs, after her first up run, we said, look, this is as good as she's ever gone fresh, better. This is a real indicator that this mare is back in proper form. And then in the Sarupa Clark, I mean, she was huge coming from a long way back. She did have the 52 on her back, but she was great chasing home Seeples. We know that race is good because Seeples was off the map in the 2-rack handicap. Nothing went right for him there. And Angel Capital, who probably should have just about won the Sarupa Clark, produced the best last 200 metres of the race in the Everest last Saturday. So I think she's the one. I know she's 5 weeks between runs, but she's already had the run at 1,400 metres, and she's trained by Price Kent, who are pretty good at getting their horses ready with gaps between runs. They've got good stats there. Hippo in the saddle. He's riding as well as any jockey in Sydney at present, so she'll do me. The only thing I'll say is there's a few of these fancied runners, Roombini, Steffi and that are going to probably be in the second half of the field. So I'd have a little saver bet on number 9, Gerringong. I'm not convinced she's at her best after a gutbuster at Flemington's 3 starts ago, but I do think if she can go to the front, she's the kind of horse that could just cause a bit of a ball over from on top of the speed.
All right, that's a look at the invitation. That's race number 9 on the program there, Saturday at Randwick. All right, can we just, before we let you go, Nick, recap all the bets that you can hand out to the listeners?
Yeah, sure. Look, I think in the Spring Champion Stakes, hopefully you jumped on the 26 with Shangri-La Boy. If you did, or if you haven't, and he's too short for you, just have a little small play each way on the 10 Crusader Voyage and the 14 She's a Diva. I think Miss Roombini takes out the invitation. I think she should be too good. And just have a little saver bet on number 9, Gerringong. And guys, I'll probably keep my hands not in my pocket, out of the wallet, however you say it, and just wait. I think there's a couple of risk factors there with certain horses on Saturday. 5 Diamonds Prelude, Transatlantic, are they going to try and keep him to peak for that race, or are they backing off on him and going to peak him for the big one in a couple of weeks' time? It's fraught with a bit of danger, so just those 2 races for me.
All right, beautiful. Thank you very much, and we can head to the Beaten Favourite to check out all the stuff and get some...
Yep. Yeah, get on the beatenfavourite.com. Go and have a look now. So if you sign up now, it's free, and you get the free tip sheet this Saturday. You also got a 7-day free trial. We absolutely smashed it last week, guys. I normally don't blow too much, but if you had $50 per unit on each of our bets, you would have won about $8,000 net. So we had River of Stars at $126. So we had a good look at her. So we've finally hit a bit of form after a couple of lean months, which is good.
Well, just quickly then, out of the Caulfield Cup, who's the one for the Melbourne Cup?
I think she is, because everyone's talking about Prasaz Nocturne, and look, with good reason too. He was first up for a while, but of the top 7 horses, first 7 across the line, only one horse was in the top 9 at the 600-metre mark, and that was River of Stars. She was the one that absorbed that really fast tempo. So I'm saying out to 3,200 metres, she's the one that can put herself on speed, make her own luck, and we know she runs the trip right out. So she'll do me each way in the Melbourne Cup, out of the Caulfield Cup.
Lovely. All right, look forward to doing it all again next week, Nick. Thank you.
See you, boys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, There's Nick Ashman. All right, thebeatenfavourite.com.au.
That's a trumpet worth blowing, TC. Nice week at the office.
Grand, yeah.
Speaking of River of Stars, I will agree with that. I thought it was a super run. It was the rank outsider. We talked about earlier how it jacked up the divvies there last week at Caulfield for Cup Day, and there was a jackpot on that particular race on Saturday, and it got to massive sizes. And the overall result was very fat indeed for the punters that chimed in there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, following on to the Melbourne Cup, according to Nick, we'll get a couple of messages from our sponsors. Just struggling with Jules at the moment, so we'll get these sponsors out of the way, and hopefully on the other side, at some stage this morning, we'll catch up with Jules.
Make Cab Radio your station of choice. Each weekday morning from 5:30 with the Sports Daily.
Just mentioned something off air there, Shorty, that's of interest to Mark from Vic Park as well. Who's the bright spark that places the Cox Plate as the last of 10 races on Saturday? Madness. And it's a talking point every year. We have the Friday night races clearly, and then you have Cox Plate Day Saturday, the quick turnaround. Friday, as they keep the track, try and get it through the 2 days, it generally starts the night pretty hard and fast.
Indeed, yeah, it can be real leadery. I've been to a stack of Cox Plates, and the Friday night's always great fun in the build-up to it. But by the end of that second day, as you touched on, it can be pretty challenging working out what the best spots to be in. They can be swooping from all over the place, and I think the mere fact that it's the last Cox Plate as we know it is probably why they've gone with it in that position. That would be my only guess.
I would say.
That's the thought process behind it, I would suggest. There's a big first 4 carryover too on the Cox Plate to round out that program, 323,000. So we saw, we were just touching on last week with the Caulfield Cup and a few results coming in, and River of Stars was that horse that injected, because everyone wanted to be with Half Yours. It was probably one of the most, heavily tipped horses I can remember in some time, going into a feature race with Half Yours, and then River of Stars at the 126 paid $25.80, Valiant King $8.40, Presage Nocturne, 182,648. That was off a carryover of a similar number of 323,000, and that first four pull got to 1.86 million. So that's worth keeping in mind if you like to have a bet on first fours and the like this weekend. Anytime there's a jackpot like that, I'd like to have a little crack TC and see if you can't get involved with it, and was lucky enough to get a bit of that last weekend. So let's hope that we can have some joy this upcoming weekend.
Fingers crossed. No luck at this stage with Jules Vallance, but we have a little bit of time after Brad Hardy after 8:30, so hopefully we'll be able to catch up with him with his thoughts on the Cox Plate. It looks like it's going to be a very tactical affair. It's a good card around the
Cox Plate as well on the Saturday, TC. So the Crystal Mile at Group 2 level, Rise at Dawn takes on O2 Good, Golden Path, Desert Lightning, Pinstriped and Von Hawk. Also the Group 2 McEwen Stakes, Charm Stone, it's come up at $2.30. Tropicus is in good form this time in, $4.40. Neonce, $6. Bridal Waltz there as an $8.50 chance. And in race number 9 on the program, the Group 2 Drummond Golf Vase Observer, an even money favourite with Mark Zara aboard. Geez, having a good carnival again, isn't he, Mark Zara? $1.90 to $2. Options on the second line's been well backed, $8.50 to $5.50, and Providence is there $9 to $8.50. But an excellent day of racing there at the Valley for Cox Plate Day on Saturday. Provided Observer goes there and runs well, which you'd suggest he would. His track work there on Tuesday morning looked good. He was very unlucky in a Caulfield Guineas. If he pushes onto a derby and you get options going towards the derby, it might be one of the better ones. Indeed. That we've had in the last couple of years, because we know the form once those 3-year-olds, and we've spoken about it on this show a little bit, once the 3-year-olds at this time of the year get out to that distance range, that can sort of mean they take a while to get over it, but hopefully they're two classy horses that might be able to continue the form. Just quickly too, TC, Casino 17, the former West Aussie, going around there for Gavin Bedgegood on Saturday. Damien Lane to ride from Barrier 1. Its performance in the Coonji behind Wootton Verney was a real eye-catcher, Casino 17, and I note that the bookmakers have given it plenty of respect. It went round a $31 chance in that race, and going into Saturday, open at $6 into $4.40 now, Casino 17. So I'm sure plenty of our listeners will be following very closely the former Sandgroper Casino 17 there on Saturday. Brian on the Retrovision text line, Cox Plate last race, to keep everybody on course as long as possible. Hopefully they open up the course and everyone can have a walk on the track after the race as well. I believe they're happy for everybody to go on there and do their best, given that they're cutting it up and tearing it to shreds at the end of it all. Take your shovel, take a bit home. Yeah, a little bit of dirt, a little bit of grass and dirt. Somebody might be able to get a little bit for Matty Rao and keep him grounded with a bit of Moonee Valley history heading forward. Well, now he's a Brownlow medalist, so he can just ask and he'll get it. Yeah, that's the truth. You're allowed to do that. Yeah, definitely. Blue is text in. Thanks, Jules, for the tip on Half Yours. Unloaded a few weeks ago. Well done, Bluey. And then someone else here, NBA, we're underway. We're almost at halftime of those first games, the Knicks and Cavs. The Knicks leads. They did get out to almost 20 points now. Halfway through the second quarter, they're up 44 to 38. Adams text in, the Atlanta Hawks will be good this year. Porzingis is in a contract year, so he will actually play. Trae Young is looking for that max deal, and there's no better motivator than money for them. They will go close to winning the East. Updates. So we've got the Hornets 46 leading the Nets 42. 53, the Magic lead the Heat 50. Raptors 16-12 over the Hawks, and the 76ers trail Boston 22-20. So we'll keep you up to speed with the NBA scores throughout the course of this morning here on the Sports Daily. We're only a couple of minutes away from 8 o'clock. Don't forget, big day of racing to look forward to this afternoon up there at the Crayfish Coast at Geraldton. First race gets underway at 12:57. The last on an 8-race card at 1 minute past 5. And chasing tonight at Mandurah, the first race gets underway there at 5:50. The last of 12 at 9:35. And the Shayne train this morning was keen on the prospects of race 3, number 1, Shine on Lily, race 11, number 6, Black Bull Viper, and race 12, number 6, Zatara's Image. And Lisa's provided us, as we're about to head to the news, a nice segue into the chat with Brad Hardy coming up very, very shortly. Lisa touches on, guys, don't know why Oscar Allen felt the need to justify why he went and decided to go to Brisbane. It's all about the dollars. It's a business. Good on him. And I dare say she's referring to, and there's a story on the back of the paper today, Oscar Allen, and he was talking, I think it was on Mix 94.5. I
think it was. And one of the quotes there I thought stood out. People that potentially always had my back aren't in those roles anymore. They're at West Coast. So it'll be interesting to get Brad Hardy's take on Oscar Allen. He's had a fair bit to say over the last little while.
I do feel a little bit for Oscar Allen because I think his intentions were pretty good, I think, and he's just been caught in the crossfire. Club have been struggling. He was an easy target when he got caught chatting to opposition clubs. I'd love to see him get it
as well.
I would honestly love to see him get a good run at it, and that's I don't want it to be rub salt into the wounds for West Coast, but just for his future and for his football, I think his best. We've seen only glimpses of it, but it's a good level. Let's hope he can get fit and well and pile on the goals and play a big role up there in Brisbane.
Yeah, they just keep getting better, the Brisbane Lions. Starting to get sick of it. We'll speak to Brad Hardy on the other side of the news.
Is a famous victory, a magnificent performance.
On This Day in Sport is brought to you by Loans 123.
What a legend. What a champion.
Who do you see? Steve Sell at loans123.com.au or call 1800 100 100.
All right, Shorty, as you can imagine, we continue to get a lot of MLB World Series things on this day. Repeating birthday would have been born on this day, 1940, Pele. Doug Flutie. Do you know Doug?
No.
NFL quarterback, 63rd birthday.
63.
63 for the Flute Man.
Nice.
Outside of that, not a whole heap going on this day. 2019, Kyrie Irving scores 50, setting a new NBA record for points on debut with a new team as the Brooklyn Nets go down 127 to 126 at home to the Minnesota, Vikings. Timberwolves, wrong sport. And outside of that, not too much of note going on this day in sport. So we'll head to a break and we'll catch up with the 1985 Brownlow medalists on the other side.
On the Sports Daily, it's time to introduce the 1985 Brownlow medalist from the Footscray Football Club at Brad Hardy. This segment is proudly presented by Retrovision, Loans 123 and Ross's Auctioneers and Valuers. Introducing the boy from Hilton, the AFL guru, Brad Hardy.
Hello to you, Bradley.
G'day, Diggers. G'day, TC. Good to be with you, boys. You may have already touched on it, but Vallance, we lost another champion yesterday. Derek Chadwick, unfortunately, passed away at the age of 84 yesterday. What a superstar he was, boys. Cricket in the summer, footy in the winter, Diggers. It was a normal thing back then, and he was a beauty, playing a stack of games for East Perth, 269, in fact, TC. Between 59 and 72. Best and fairest twice. Won the Simpson Medal in the 64 Carnival for WA. Third in the Sandover that particular year and finished top 5 3 times. And, of course, he played about 65 Shield games for WA. Unfortunately, didn't quite get to test level. Played for an Australian second 11 in New Zealand and was averaged around about 30-odd. So, what a superstar he was, boys. I don't know if you can recall him. I know you won't, TC, but certainly you would have, Diggers. Derek Chadwick, what a star.
I'll set you up for a little bit of failure there, Brad. Sorry, we've had to go the substitute. Similar haircut, but Shorty's in for Diggers today.
Shorty, sorry, Shorty.
That's okay, Brad. No, that's okay.
I didn't understand.
Yeah, but
you would be certainly aware of Chatty.
Yeah, 100%. And our thoughts are with the Chadwick family. A wonderful, incredibly talented man. To be able to play both games to such a high level is a credit to what sort of person he was, but what sort of talent that he possessed, and also how much hard work, Brad. Like, I mean, these days you just don't get the opportunity. The kids are forced to make a decision and go one way or the other. Toddy Breeman's about the last one I can remember that played Shield cricket and AFL football, and he's a fine man too, Toddy. He's probably tuned in this morning. Hello, if he is. It would have been in the maybe late 80s, early 90s, I reckon.
Yeah, early 90s. Probably early 90s. Yeah,
early 90s.
I think he's a bit younger than me. Probably in between you and me, Shorty, I reckon he is. So, you're right. I mean, it was a commonplace. Peter Bedford, Keith Miller, Simon O'Donnell, Tangles Walker, those guys. I mean, Graham Wood and Jeff Marsh, both played footy for South and East, respectively, along with them, playing great cricket for Australia. Australia. And in the end, those boys were just on the cusp of you've got to make a decision which way you're going to go. You know. So Craig Bradley was another one, I think. I can recall.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Was there. But we talk about sliding door moments. I don't want to spend too much time because, as you say, Shorty, we do send our sincere condolences to the family and friends of Chad's. But the bottom line is that he had sliding door moments. He debuted TC in 1959 as an 18-year-old. Guess who won the flag that year, TC? East Perth. He didn't quite get in the team. He had to retire in 1972, Shorty. He got a bad kidney injury in that year. And guess who won the flag? East Perth.
Oh, wow.
So, so in that, it was a games record holder for East Perth at that stage. Unfortunately, just didn't quite find the right minute to be in the team when they won those flags in those 2 years.
Well, it's still a wonderful CV at the end of it all. And, Brad, the only other player that sprung to mind for me when you started going through, and he didn't get to league level, but I know the great Shayne Warne was on the reserves list at St Kilda, I think, as well, before going on to represent Australia and becoming the greatest leg spinner of all time. So it was a possibility back in those days, but for the young fellas now, from around about the age of 13, if they start getting into these squads, you get told it's time to make your mind up and away you go.
Young bloke at Collingwood, Brad, Will Parker, is probably as close because he played a little bit of Shield cricket, but then he obviously had to change to Collingwood and he's played a couple of games there in the AFL, so that's, as close as you're going to get these days probably.
Well, as Shorty touched on, the luminaries that we had, Spud Slater, etc., the real greats. But, if you're fortunate enough, if you're sort of a Keith Miller or the like, and you were good enough, unfortunately, if you were going to England to play cricket, it took you 4 weeks on a boat. So I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, they were robbed of a lot of time to be able to handle that in between. But yeah, it's as you say, very infrequent these days. But some of the greatest names of Australian sport are those guys who are able to do both.
And you think of someone like Elise Perry for the Australian cricket side. She was playing for the women's soccer side for Australia and then buttering up and playing for the girls' cricket side as well. That's a pretty rare talent right there. And what a career she's gone on to have as well, just quietly. Phenomenal.
Few names being thrown out on the text line too. Alex Keith is another one. Did the same thing. He played cricket and then he's played in the AFL obviously recently. And Earl Spalding, he played cricket for WA.
The Duke, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
he was a star. Carl Langdon was a very talented cricketer as well as footballer through that generation.
Summer, I think a few of them.
John Worsfold, Summer played, I think, Australian under-19s cricket for the Oz.
One thing though, Shorty, they weren't as good as you and me in the backyard at Mum's.
I think they might have had me covered there as well, unfortunately, Brad.
Plenty going on, boys. Look, there's a lot going on. I'm a bit vehement today, and on Geelong, I think they should be fined, and not because of the Bailey Smith stuff. I mean, that's just typical Chris Scott, coming out on the front foot and hurling the first punch, etc. So they outrageously successful. He did have a good year. There's no problem with that, but you can't. He's trying to separate the two, which you can't really collectively. We do give him a tick for his season on the field, but off the field, got a lot of work to do, and that's where the criticism is coming from in that regard. But where I'm going with this, Shorty, is the fact that TC, you've heard me say many times that you only go out one of two ways, unfortunately, most of the time in AFL football. It's either injured or disappointed. And we saw somebody like a Luke Bruce go out this year, did an ankle, bang, he's injured, right? But then you've got Ted Closey, who's just been delisted by Geelong. That's fine. I get that. Clubs have to make these calls and all of that sort of stuff. Who do you reckon told him that he was no longer required? Do you think it was Andrew Mackey, the footy manager? No. Do you think it was Chris Scott, the coach? No. It was the development coach who said to him, hey, sorry, son, you're no longer required. Seriously. They should be fined. The AFL, not only them, anybody else, any other club that does that, Shorty, should be fined or sanctioned in some way, because that is pitiful. That is why we have a lot of young people who end up, with mental demons and all of that sort of stuff. You can't tell me you can't take 5 minutes out of your precious time to have a chat to the guy and say, listen, unfortunately, you're not in our future. We'd love having you here, etc. Go back or go wherever you want to go and play footy. We'll keep an eye on you, and who knows, That's all it takes.
Sure.
Give them some chance. Don't just send some lackey or underling, to tell the boy that you're no longer required. How pitiful's that?
Well, the least you can do is pay them the respect of speaking to their head coach. Now, I'm pretty sure when a lot of these guys walk in the front door, they are not offered the world, but they're made to feel pretty special, and they're told about what the club can do for them and what their plans look like at the start. If it doesn't work out, pay them the same respect on the way out and say, look, it hasn't quite worked out, young fella. It's not to say that if you work hard on your game, there might be another club that can pick you up. But don't just, as you've touched on, Brad, it's a really deflating moment for a lot of young men that have spent their entire lives trying to get to that point to get an opportunity. So I think it is a really important time. And while it might not seem like much to senior coaches and the like, for the person that's going out the door, I think it's the least you can do is pay them the respect of speaking to the top man on the way out.
Yeah, and look, I heard an instance too over here. Marcus Harris, obviously plays for Victoria now, the former West Aussie. He was dropped from the one-day team this week for the fixture. Fair enough, that's okay. Approached Chris Rogers and said, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" He said, "Oh, it's not my job." Seriously, whose job? This is what you. They talk about relationships. What do they bulltish about every time they come? Oh, such and such. Stephen King, he's a relationship builder, or Craig McRae, he's a great relationship builder. Well, that's part of it. That is part of it.
Respect.
It's all encompassing. Respect, mate.
Yeah.
We've become accustomed with Geelong over the last 15 to 20 years, Brad. They make a lot of the right decisions. But ever since that final siren in the grand final, there's been a handful of occasions just in that short time where it's so un-Geelong-like.
Yeah, well, look, I'm living here, so I get it more than you guys, and you guys probably have a better handle on what's going on over there and such, with your ears to the ground, your tentacles out there. But, they've made a real meal of it, Geelong, this year. Look, they are arrogant to a point where that's why people don't like them. And I think there was a lot of people happy that they didn't win the flag, you know what I mean? Because this is their behaviour. Their best form of defence is to attack, and that's fine. But, you've got to have some humility about you as well. And it's not the first time we've heard these things about Geelong. Anyway, we shall move on. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Eagles because they've obviously got a strategy coming up into the national draft next month, Shorty. They've got a really good hand, 1, 2, 13, 34, 41, 53, 58. They've acquired a few players already, Starcevich, Robertson, Taylor from Richmond. So they're trying to do that. Look, I think that number 2 pick, TC, is still up for grabs. I think it's still up for discussion anyway. I think Essendon are keen, Shorty. They've got 5, 6 and a few others inside the first round. So, look, if West Coast TC don't go for Dersma, Shorty, I know Essendon want to, so there might be a chance where, maybe 5 goes to West Coast and another in the early 20s, and they get 2 in a later 30s or 40s from West Coast. But the reason they're doing that is because I think they're going to keep 3 or 4 picks back for these to train on players. Maybe what they can see in the pre-season draft. We know that Archie's the best player in the pre-season draft. At the moment, it's a little bit of a stalemate. He wants to go to Adelaide. They'd love to have him, in WA. He wants to live in WA, so there's still a little bit to work through there. But my point is they're going to invite 3 players that I know of anyway, perhaps to train on with them. Harry Schoenberg, who's a 24-year-old TC from Adelaide. He's a mid. He played 62 games for the Crows in 5 years. Finn McRae, 23-year-old from Collingwood, another mid, who played 21 games for the Pies, and Seamus Mitchell, who's a smallish defender. When I say that, 5'11", small these days. He's a 23-year-old from Hawthorn. He played 28 games. So I think you'll keep an eye on those boys to see if they get at least invited to train with the West Coast in the pre-season, with a view maybe to fill 1 or 2 of those back-end selections of the pre-season draft.
All right. And Oscar Allen had a fair bit to say yesterday. He was on radio over here in Perth. He said a few things, some things that stood out. One of his quotes was, when everything came out publicly with me this year, the level of support I received from different people was probably different than what I expected it to be. So that stood out
100%. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we all knew that. I mean, he looked like that was ridiculous. And we touched on it at the time, Shorty. Having him stand out there like a shag on a rock at Mineral Resources Park with Woosha rod and shotgun, smiling and whatever, told what to do. That was we all understood and knew that he was pretty much gone. He met with Brisbane this time last year. So it was pretty well advanced, and you can only keep alive for so long. I mean, we're not conditioned, as we know, like rugby league, where someone might line up for the Bulldogs in round one and know damn well they're playing for Penrith next year. We're not ready for that yet. But, and then it was always going to be on the wane, and then he injured himself, and we didn't really hear or see of him, did we, in the last third of the season, TC? Yep. And he was still captain. We were told, he's got a great role to play. He'll be around the club and he'll be cheering the boys on and all that sort of stuff. Well, no. It's very, very hard. We're just not there yet, and I understand it, and I hope he's cleansed himself and got it off his chest, and he can go up to Brisbane and make a fist of it, because I can't wait for the first game between the Eagles and Brisbane, but unfortunately I think Brisbane hold the whip hand.
They certainly do. Just quickly on that, have we learned as an industry and as an AFL sort of fan base, have we taken much away? So this year there's been so much chat about coaches going to meet with players. There's been heat on different players. It's made it awkward for them. Heading into next season, have the AFL or the clubs or the players at least learnt something from this year to say, right, if we're going to catch up, let's do it somewhere incredibly private, well, away from where the cameras can be, and managers maybe need to play a bigger role rather than just the one-on-one with the player themselves. Like, eventually that meeting can take place. But I just thought it was a brutal look right the way throughout the course of the season. And the players have often been the ones that have copped it. I just think a little bit more common sense needs to apply with this heading forward.
Couldn't agree more. And it damages the fabric in a sense, because, if those guys don't happen to make it, and Zach Merritt is a prime example, he's got to go back into that club now. And it's bloody hard. I mean, people say, it'll only be awkward for the first couple of times. Well, let me tell you, once the SH12 hits the fan next year and Essendon aren't going any good, mate, it'll be prime of place. You know what I mean? It'll be up front. He didn't want to be here, and the club's a mess. All of this sort of stuff. As you say, Shorty, there's a way of doing things. Just as we spoke about the Closey and Geelong situation, there's a way for Oscar Allen and the Lions, and Sam Mitchell and Oscar Allen, and Zach Merritt and Hawthorn, or whatever. There's a way of doing these and conducting these things, and privacy is one thing. You've just got to because if it comes to good, fantastic. Well done. Everybody can learn of it. If it doesn't, well, you don't want people being polarised, because they were exploring the market.
Yep. Well, we got 5 days through the off-season, Brad, without sort of contract talk, and then Essendon are going to offer Hawthorn for Josh Weddle $1 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Bulldog ploy with Wilkie. They did exactly the same with Wilkie, after they missed out on Silvani, played both Collingwood and the Bulldogs, and end up down there at 5x900 at St Kilda. They did the same thing with Wilkie. They said, okay, we'll offer him 4 years at 1.1. Now, Wilkie wasn't on anywhere near that money, and they knew he was a little bit dishevelled because of the numbers that were coming in for Flanders and De Conning and and obviously with Isaiah. Yep. So he was restless. There was no doubt about that. I can tell you to the bank. He and his management re-rang the Bulldogs, because they wanted to force the issue in the end because they weren't happy. And if he had been a free agent, he would have come to the Bulldogs. But that's if you only had whiskers, you'd be your uncle. But the bottom line is, they made St Kilda pay. They raised him $300,000 per annum for a longer period of time than he was already contracted, and he's going to be captain. So I see this effort by Essendon to go after Weddle exactly return a serve of what they did with Merritt. That's what I see with that. Do they really want Weddle? They'd love him, but are they going to get him? Not a chance.
And in the meantime, they've just jacked his price to a whole new level that they weren't expecting to have to pay. So 1-1, they may well say. In fact, it may be 2-0, given that Zach Merritt's still playing at Essendon next season. So Essendon, a rare victory for them. We'll wait and see how they do perform in season 2026. Much else to report, Brad?
Yeah, look, I had a little bit of an idea. I wanted to float with the boys, and yourself, Shorty, was, obviously the state of origin. We've announced the coaches and all of that sort of stuff, and we're trying to drive it forward and whatever. I just thought a nice little touch, going forward. TC on February 14 next year. In 1977, the first inaugural one was played, of course, and I'd like to see the inclusion of Mossy and Glendenning, George Young, Ian Miller, Joe McKay, Tony Morley, Bill Valley, Stanley Magro, Jimmy Sewell, those sort of blokes be invited to be part of a cavalcade, maybe even a guard of honour when the boys run out, just to say, righto, let's buy into this. This is where it started. This is where we are now, and we're fair income. You know what I mean? I think it's not going to cost a lot of money, and it's just a little tribute to those guys who, everything's got to start somewhere, doesn't it, Shorty?
I love it.
And 1977, it's nearly 50 years ago. You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you come from.
Well,
I just would have thought that might be a little touch that the West Australian Football Commission can employ next year when the boys run out to hopefully take on the Vicks, which is going to be, there'll be 50, 60,000 there, of course. I think it'd just be a great tribute to those boys who did it in the past. That's
Brad,
all.
If you add something like that to it, Brad, I think you probably add another 5,000 to 10,000 people come along to pay tribute to those guys that represented the state all those years ago, that have meant a lot to so many people and fans over a long period of time. You mentioned a man like Stan Magro there for me. I'd go if it was just Stan in one of those vehicles, to be honest. He was a wonderful guy for football in WA. They've contributed so much, and also for the guys in the side now, for them to have an opportunity to look and say, this is what it's all about. These guys have been there and they've worn the jumper and they've been legends of the game. It's our turn. It's a wonderful pat on the back and a reward for the guys that get picked to play for WA.
Yeah, I agree. Now, whether it's a cavalcade of cars or whether they just form a guard of honour, when the boys run out, I don't mind. As long as they get acknowledged, because, it's very important to remember your past. And I'm big on the nostalgia, and I'm big on the history. And I just think it might be something that they should be able to certainly consider and implement, because I don't think it'll be too hard. Of course, unfortunately, we may have lost a few along the way. But Basil Campbell, he was there too, remember?
Yes,
Basil down.
Absolutely. Bring the helmet. Bring the helmet along.
A lot of these guys were cult figures, and as you say, Shorty, whether you played the game or you were just a fan, we lived it.
Big
we lived
time.
it with them, and it's great just to cast the memory back, that's all.
And it would help to give them a bit of a kick along as well, relive the moment and recapture, what would have been a special time in their lives.
Well, all the AFL teams, they get the families out there when they run through the banner and line up, alongside the banner. That can't be hard to do.
Exactly. No, exactly right. I get that. And it does lean on me a little bit, but I think these guys are genuine superstars who are underrated, underpaid, under everything, and I think it just should be a great acknowledgement for them by the AFL and the Football Commission to honour those guys. That's all.
There's a bit going on at the Commission, so hopefully they'll be able to get all that in order. Bradley, we'll do it again next week.
Yeah, we spoke about the Moss Street Ferries. They're in a bit of trouble. They're in a bit of strife. Anyway, hopefully they can get themselves out of it. So even though we hate them, Shorty, we still need them in the competition, unfortunately.
Of course we do. Who are we doing it for today, Brad?
We're doing it for Mortz. He's a ripper. 17 stores. Got to be one near you. Get yourself a big screen TV TC to watch the Cox Plate on the weekend.
Yes.
And don't forget the Nude Nut. He can help you with the finances if you need it. 1-800 100 100. He can do things the banks can't, Shorty. And Frankie Lee at Ross's Auction. He's a champion. He's statewide as well, boys. Happy punting, and I'll look forward to chatting to you next week.
Absolutely. There's Brad Hardy, the 1985 Brownlow medalist. We'll hear from him on TAB Radio on Sunday as well.
Brad Hardy is proudly presented by Retrovision, Loans 123, and Ross's Auctioneers and Valuers. Retrovision, lowest price guaranteed. RAC members save 5%. Loans 123 for all your loan needs. Call Steve Sell on 1-800 100 100. Ross's Auctioneers and Valuers, the leading auctioneering firm in WA. Tab Radio, your station of choice. Each weekday morning from 5:30 with the Sports Daily.
All right, welcome back to the Sports Daily. Taylor Cortland and David Short with you. This man in his normal slot, we couldn't quite get a hold of him, Shorty. He said his celebrations for the Caulfield Cup had just ended. Jules Vallance, good morning.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, just got caught up in the moment of 48 hours ago. So anyway, we're right now. I apologise for that, but we're ready to cook.
No, all good, all good. So the Cox Plate, what are we thinking? This race sets up. It's intriguing on paper, trying to sort out the form.
Sure is. It's really interesting. I think there's going to be plenty of opinions out there. I mean, we've lost Globe this morning, and then I think that throws up some more sort of really interesting points of view, because I think there's going to be 4 or 5 different ideas of who's actually going to lead this race. So Nick and I sort of went through it earlier this morning on our show that we think there could be a real left field sort of leader, maybe the 3-year-old Nepotism, who's never showed any early speed in its life, but it's only hoped to sort of finish in the top 3. You would think would be on speed with that weight advantage. Light Infantry Man, when he was actually over your neck of the woods, actually sat outside leader in a northerly, in a really fast race northerly when he drew gate 14. He's drawn the wide barrier. Does he roll forward, which I think would shock a lot of people? And then maybe Antino or Treasure of the Moment. I mean, there's many variables that can happen in this race.
It really does throw that speed map up in the air with Globe coming out. It's going to be one hell of a race, so however you break it down. It might not be a vintage Cox Plate, Jules, but nonetheless, you look at the top-end talent and it is elite.
Yeah, and that's no doubting. I mean, let's only go back 12 months ago when Via Sustina, albeit, we were on the back of sort of Winks winning 4, and, Via Sustina, from my ratings, ran a bigger rating than Winks ever did. So Winks was able to do it 4 times in a row and plenty more times in other races as well. But that Via Sustina number will sit out there on an island that she has for a very long time. She's never been able to get back to it. The market still thinks she's, a chance to get back to it. I don't think it's possible. And to be honest, I think her last couple have been really, really plain. And I know there's been some excuses for it. And you can say Chris Weller's the grand final trainer and all that blah, blah, blah. But when you're taking 215, 210, those kinds of prices about her, you want everything sort of in your corner. And for me, that doesn't happen on Saturday.
All right. Is there a bet in the race then? All the money early on since the barrier draw has been with Treasure of the Moment. I think there was $9 available early Tuesday. Now with Tab Touch into $5.50.
Yeah, second go 2,000 metres this prep is the only thing I reckon you can hang your hat on. First up, we've spoken about it, she was breathtaking winning the Memsie. It was just absolutely brilliant. And it was like, well, she's going to be the new Wait for Age star. And then she got that sort of colic issue. And her last 2 behind Pride of Jenny and then obviously behind Globe last start have only just been average. Now, does Damien Lane take her to the front and try and control the race? For me, I think if I was to bet in the race, I'm not sure if I will. I'll be waiting right to the death. The only one I really want to be on is Antino. I think he just will be a Moonee Valley horse. I wouldn't be surprised if Blake Shin didn't do the 800 to 1,000 metre sort of whip around them. I've sort of got Blake probably leading this race and controlling it from there. And I think if he can do that, I don't think a horse like Via Sustina or anything else in the race can get past him. I think he's a real bend horse. We saw it at Doomben one year. We saw it at Caulfield, obviously, with the Toorak. I think Moonee Valley will suit him. I'd probably be with Antino in a tough race.
All right, so a strong push there for Antino. The entire 10-race card's a bottler there on Saturday. Jules, what else takes your fancy on the day?
Yeah, race 3. It's going to be interesting to see what this track does because there's sort of rainfall predicted Saturday. But if it doesn't come, then this track might become really, really dry and maybe lanes are going to be, better to be in. But I want to be with Trey Magnifique. Was really good winning at Ballarat Maiden. They get it to Ballarat Maiden, but that's been a hot form race. And then just behind Point Barrow on Caulfield Guineas Day, just had no luck whatsoever. Mark Zara just had to take his medicine and couldn't get out at any stage. I think this horse has got plenty of ability. The caveat is he's going to need luck. He doesn't have early gate speed. He's going to have to ride for luck, but if he gets it and can get the right backside at the right time, Trey Magnifique is what I want to be with in race 3.
Race 3, number 12, $5.50 with Tab Touch at the moment, $2.15 a place. Anything else you can push the listeners into?
Yeah, race 4, again, comes off Broadway a little bit. I'm going to be with the favourite who comes out of the 1,000 guineas, but I want to be with Sunlit Serenade. Just want to see more Maiden, I think, sort of came from the back. Again, it's drawn wide, so they probably go back from the gate. But I think it's the most progressive horse, and I think it's going to be even better, maybe at a bigger distance than this. But I think at an each-way quote, I want a different form line to sort of what we've been seeing at the moment. And off-Broadway gives me that, and Sunlit Serenade each way might be the go.
All right. And then another one I wanted to ask you about, Observer. Short,
yeah.
But do we take the $2?
I'm happy to take black figures about Observer. I think it just brings the right form line. He's still on the up. He was only second up into a Caulfield Guineas. You could argue that he probably just about wins the race. He definitely runs second if he doesn't, if he gets the luck at the right time. Ethan Brown jumped off and said this horse will stay. You look at him through the line in the Caulfield Guineas, and he had plenty to give. Zara goes on. He's a positive rider. This horse, in its early in its prep when it was with James Cummings, would be positive and sit outside leader. I think he controls the race. I think he wins Saturday. I think he becomes a short price favourite for the Derby in a week's time.
And Jules, the former West Aussie Casino 17 goes around in race number 5, the JRA Cup over the 2040. Really nice performance last time out there in the Coonji over the 2,000 metres. I note there's been good support, 6 into $4.40. You're giving Casino 17 any hope there on Saturday?
I backed him. Yep, I backed it. I think that race was really good, that Coonji. I've got that race going really well. Now, that overall day, they did run lightning time. Gate 1, just going to need some luck at the right time. Probably got the right bloke on board. I want to be with it. Yeah, I've sort of been one of those people to snap up that early price. I think it's a cracking bet, Casino 17.
All right, $4.40 there. The horse looks like he's getting back to some of his best WA form as well at $4.40. All right, that's to go with Observer, $2 race 9, number 1. Sunlit Serenade, race 4, number 6 at $7. Trade Magnifique, number 3. Race 3, number 12, at $5.50. And we're still on the fence about Antino in the Cox Plate. Probably the on top of it. Not overly keen there, Jules. Anything else we need to talk about?
No, just Gilded Water. Hopefully you can win its way into the Melbourne Cup. It obviously runs in the Geelong Cup this afternoon. It's a short price favourite. I think if it can win, he becomes a single figure price in the Melbourne Cup. He's going to be your left field horse, a bit different to the Caulfield Cup form line. He might be the one, but he's got to get the job done. He needs to win. If he doesn't run, if he runs second, gets beaten the nose, he's cast. He must win today.
$3.50 Observer for a Victoria Derby.
I'd take that.
All right.
Yep.
Gee whiz.
I'd be taking that.
Lovely. Like it. Thank you very much, Jules. Enjoy the day.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.
There's Jules Vallance. There's a fair bit to work through there.
Yeah, there is. It's good. That's gives us a nice head start for Saturday, doesn't it? So, race 3, number 12, Trey Magnifique. Race 4, number 6, Sunlight Serenade. Race 9, number 1, Observer. Race 5, number 3, Casino 17. And he's keen, Gilded Water. He thinks it'll win the Geelong Cup and then come into much trimmer. So, if you think it's winning the Geelong Cup, have a bet before the race on it in the Melbourne Cup if you think it can win that race, because it'll trim up significantly once you know that it's getting a run in the big race on the first Tuesday in November.
Melbourne Cup, $4.60 favourite, half yours. El Riffer at $6, Valiant King at $8, Presage Nocturne at $9, Absurd at $15, Gilded Water currently at $15.
What about the one that Nick touched on, runner-up, River of Stars?
$15 and $4.50.
Okay. Coming off at $126 in the Caulfield Cup, it's a big difference.
Yes,
15,
it is.
Isn't it?
But I think, what was it last year? 13th and 14th Quinella, the Melbourne Cup out of the Caulfield Cup.
Yeah, it's been a pretty solid form reference on the way through, hasn't it? And geez, it's a tough race, the Melbourne Cup, each and every year. It really is. But a few more locals than usually this time around. I think some of those scans that are having to take place are probably scaring some of the potential internationals and keeping them away these days, TC.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's making it a little bit of a tricky race to bet into, and probably will continue to be so. You don't really want to dive in too early.
It's hard enough as it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's getting
right.
more tricky, particularly for the futures players.
I'd still be with Valiant King at this stage, but obviously we've got a little bit of water to go under the bridge there at $8. I thought he might be a little bit longer than that. I'd rather be taking something at a bigger price in a Melbourne Cup than $8.
Big time.
Probably. But
I think those favourites have only won 2 of the last 25, something like that.
25.
Yeah, it's been a tough time for favourite backers in the Melbourne Cup. Hey, just quickly, a few updates on the NBA, the scoreboards there. The Knicks leading The Cavs are halfway through the third, 79-68. The Charlotte Hornets, 86-65 leaders over the Brooklyn Nets. The game between the Heat and the Magic is locked up at 79 apiece. The Raptors are 62-57 leaders over the Hawks, and the Philadelphia 76ers have a 6-point buffer over the Celtics, leading 57-51. The Bulls off to a flyer against the Pistons, leading 37-21, and the Grizzlies trail the Pelicans by 3 points. That's the latest on the NBA this morning. We've got cricket to look forward to later on there today, as we touched on, between Australia and India, the second of the one-day games across there at the Adelaide Oval. Later tonight, there is NBL basketball to look forward to. The two games this evening, tip-off 2:30 this afternoon. New Zealand, $1.77, take on Brisbane, 205. That line, 1.5. Total points, 182.5. And the late game, 4:30 tip-off tonight. Southeast Melbourne, $1.85. The Kings, 195. And game total there sits at 181.5 points. That's the latest from the NBL and for the cricket tonight.
And, of course, we've got the T20 today as well between New Zealand and England.
Yes.
New Zealand at 2:30, England at 1:62.
What time's that starting?
2:15.
Oh, there's going to be a lot happening all around the same time there this afternoon. NBL, the Aussie cricket, New Zealand, England, and watch out for Harry Brook off the last performance that we saw there. He was smashing the ball to all parts for England. What price is he for the high bat? $5. That might get me for a little. Might get me for a little look, given how well he looked at the crease the other day.
We'll have a few bet slips going today.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Geraldton as well.
Gero, yeah. So, of course, we caught up with Meryl Hayley earlier on in the program, and she gave, I thought, a pretty nice push to all of her runners today. She was pretty complimentary in regards to Diablo Ladd as the best of them, but she certainly suggested that he will run well in race 7, and in the last race 8, number 10, Divina Nana aims up at a winning hat-trick, and she's very happy with the way that it's been going in recent times. Wasn't ruling it out for bringing up the hat-trick this afternoon.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side with Brad McManus to take a look at these markets with Tab Touch for Ascot on Saturday.
Make Tab Radio your station of choice each weekday morning from 5:30 with the Sports Daily.
And we save the best until last. Brad McManus joins us on the Sports Daily to wrap up Thursday morning. Brad, good morning to you.
Hello, TC. How are you?
I'm going well. How are you? Everything well?
Wonderful. Whereabouts, etc.
Before we take a look at Ascot, can I ask you a question about that Gold Rush market and Mr. Brightside? Is that money-driven, or what's going on with that shortening up of Mr. Brightside?
It 100% is money-driven. We started to see that, I think it was Monday evening, the bets started piling in. It was a national go as well. Someone in the trading camp over here does have a few connections over east, and the mail from the corps over there is that the money is stable-driven, which is a great indicator. Also, fingers crossed that we can get some horseflesh like Mr. Brightside over here to WA, because wouldn't that be fantastic?
McGinney, good morning to you. And you're right, it would be a massive coup already with the news of horses like Overpass and Giga Kick likely to be across here. It could be one of the most exciting carnivals we've seen for some time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, completely agree. And it's something we're all looking forward to, because horseflesh makes racing, makes the crowd, makes the carnival. And the names you've mentioned, I'm getting goosebumps just imagining them coming over here and being able to have a quiet beer and watch them at the races.
Oh, yeah, a quiet beer. You've never had one of them in your life. Brad, Belgravia Stakes, highlights, speaking of good horse flesh, Talk & Co, $3.80 the favourite. King of Lights gets back to the races. Snitzalate, good last start. Mardusa, good. Zoo Run, trialled very, very well. What's this market doing?
Oh, wouldn't we like to take a couple of these home, TC? And Talk & Co off a brilliant return is just edged its way in a clear favouritism at the 380 there. That's a bit of a national go, bit of market merging. But as far as financial support goes, Schnitzalate has been very well supported into that $6 mark. But a few to mention out wide at the bigger prices for punters who like a bit of a novelty play. Country God's been well supported. And at the bigger prices, Tessie Pharaoh and Heaven Specified all supported each way.
Okay, they're all drawn nice and softly. Back to the top of the program, race number 1, the 2-year-olds. All on red, won the first 2-year-old race and now comes up favourite again at $2.60.
Pretty quiet betting affair. This one, TC, not a lot to speak of. A little bit of each way money bivvy, Chief.
All right, race number 2, the Guinness handicap over the mile. First encounter at the head of that market, 230 out to 240. There's been support B Bardo early there. Brad 310 into 280.
Yeah, Shorty tipping, you've had your share of Guinness over the years.
Not a massive fan. I'm more of a whiskey man, to be honest with you, Brad. I've been over there, and I'm a hard liquor man. I enjoy the hard liquor.
Oh, I love it. great chat for 8:50 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Not a lot to speak of in this race, gents. A bit of money, B Bardo, a bit of a trim up there, but first encounter will be in a lot of multis off a very nice return.
All right, race number 3 on the program. Something's gone wrong with my computer. It says Kraken Time's the favourite.
Yeah, try deleting your browsing history, TC. That might sort out those bugs you got there, mate. American Escape's been a good go. Punters pretty keen to get involved here. A couple of thousand each way. American Escape at the $5, if you don't mind. Kraken Time, yeah, 1,000 at the 320 early. Another 500 at the 290. Good go there. And Scorpion Ruler each way. A couple of pros getting involved there too.
Can we trust Kraken Time? It was a much more trustworthy performance last time out. Got out of the barriers okay and was just a bit generally unlucky in the run. But, Brad, that statue you have of the horse, it's not in any danger of getting knocked over? Yeah,
just when you start to trust them, that's when they prove how untrustworthy they are, isn't it?
Could be. Let's wait and see. We'll wait and see. I'm not sure I should have gone down that path. But anyway, race number 4, the Morley Growers Market, and it's an open affair. Maxi Hoestappen is our current favourite there at $4.20. Any early movement here?
Quite-ish affair. A bit of pro money. It's all okay at the bigger price. Also each way exquisite taste. And up the top, Maxi and Cavallo Red both getting their share of attention as well.
Graduation 60 plus 1,000 metres, race 5. 3-year-old Flying Frankie, $3 favourite.
Pateman versus Ganjimi.
Yes.
With a little bit of a nod towards a few others that are very nice horses or in very good form. But text message has gone out for last Stylebender.
Okay.
$8.50 into $5 is our biggest stand of the day. There is pro money Flying Frankie, the stable mate, but the text messages have gone out for last Stylebender.
So that's always worth taking note of, punters. Race 5, number 8, last Stylebender. Race number 6, the Bisley Workwear, 76 plus over the 1,000 metres. Gee, I was impressed by the performance of KTY last time out. I don't think I was alone. It's 240 into 225.
Yeah, another one that'll be in its share of multis, KTY, and well supported early. Worth noting, a bit of money each way early. Local sharp money, Forster Station, off a very nice return as well there at the near double figure quote.
2,100 metres, 66 plus, race number 7. Much action here?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, the fortnightly or weekly staying raffle, well up the top, getting good money. Antique Star, well supported again. Lombardina been backed almost into favouritism and may well start favourite the way things are trending. So they're the ones at the moment that have been circled.
All righty, watching out. That's always looking for value in those particular events. The MCA Polytrack is race number 8, 72 plus over the 1,400 metres. Playing it sweet, and September Born are towards the top of the market here. I like September Born as a horse. It's $3.90 into $3.70 early, and Playing it sweet's been $3.80 into $3.50. What's the weight of money looking like here?
At this stage, September Born, Playing it sweet, and Dealer in. Getting the money, leading to a nice little drift on opportunistic. A few of these horses have bigger fish to fry. TC Neville sounded quite positive about September Born earlier in the week.
Yeah, not wrong. It would take the other horse's best efforts to beat him on Saturday, was paraphrasing Neville, but he was very effusive about the chances of September Born, who returns to the races over 1,400 metres. That's a cracking race though, Brad.
Great lineup. It's salivating stuff. Just a bit of a negative for the race, the lack of pace, which will just make it quite a tactical affair by the looks of things.
Yep, absolutely. And the last race is intriguing as well. Looking forward to seeing Statewide back to the races. One first up there at Northam, when looking pretty green, gets out to 1,400 metres, which you'd think looks a little bit more suitable as well.
Yeah, punters going for the progressive types in this race, Statewide and Nikiana, both been circled by local sharpies. Worth noting a really good each-way crack out mate Archie to improve. I think as big as 40s or 50s into 20s, and there has been the support to go along with that as well.
All right, beautiful. That's the 10 races there at Ascot. Just recap those best bet early on.
So we'll go with last Stylebender. The old text message money has gone through there. American Escape, good support. As far as the really sort of sharp money, Schnitzer Latte is worth circling there as well in the feature.
All right, beautiful. Thank you very much, Bradley. And good information a little bit earlier on. Stable-driven money for Mr. Brightside in the Gold Rush. So fingers crossed that comes to fruition. Have a good day and enjoy those quiet beers.
Yeah, and also don't forget Northern Cup market will be up this afternoon for Sunday, and may have a little podcast with a singleted Mart in this warmer weather.
Singlets?
Dougal, Riley, Rusty Trombone, etc. The whole crew should be in. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Dougal and his little cut off shoulder piece as well a little bit later on there this afternoon. We'll be tuned in from 3 o'clock each and every Thursday afternoon, punters. It is must listening. Make sure you tune in to the team. Very entertaining, and plenty winners come out of that program each and every week. Good on you, McGinnity.
Cheers, mate.
There we go. This is Brad McManus. All right, we made it, Shorty.
TC. Doesn't 3.5 hours go very swiftly in this place?
It does.
And I've had a lot of fun with you this morning, so thank you for allowing me to come in and spend the morning with you, and all the people tuned in. Thank you for your company. Love having the opportunity to be in here, and lots of feedback on that Retrovision text line. I will be back on air in about an hour's time with Great Greys between 10 and 11. We'll go around the Great Nation and try and find some winners for tonight's meetings around Australia, and then I'll catch up with your good self and Diggers, hopefully with something that will get you chuckling tomorrow morning from just after 6:30.
Have a great day, Shorty.
Thanks, TC.
Back on the Sports Daily tomorrow morning from 5:30.